now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at Sihawk.
Superb finish.
Oh, that's it! Mix of it!
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the school that's on.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tong skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With the plays you missed.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And analysis to give you an edge.
Tony Romo joins the conversation.
I was shaking in my boots.
The Big Ten home to the defending national champions.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
Welcome into College Football Pregame here on CBS Sports HQ. We're getting you ready to go for week 2 of college football action, and we are so thrilled to have former Ohio State running back Beanie Wells here in studio with us. And as you see, our 2 Knoll boys, they made it back in one piece. Yes. Danny Cannell, Brian McFadden. I say one piece, though. Beanie, you were in the locker room after that win. What was your message to Florida State after that massive win week 1?
Well, my voice was about gone.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot to say in terms of, just how loud I can get to the guys. But just the emotions, man, the energy. This is what college football is about in terms of the fans and just being able to be heavily involved, even though you're not putting on one helmet, making one tackle. This is what college football is about. And I just wanted to just share with them, man, listen, enjoy it, but do not fall in love with it because you have another task coming up. Of course, this week, and that is the course throughout the college football season. But first week, you did what you were supposed to do.
Emily, it wasn't the words after. It was the words before the game because he spoke to the team. They do a legacy walk where they have former players come in, and BMAC stood up there and told them, you guys are going to win this game before. He instilled that belief so they could go out there on that field and get that job done.
And yet he's here in studio with us, so
That's
they
right.
don't get
Ready
the.
to go watch it out. Mike Norvell might steal him away from us, Beanie.
Seriously, whatever you said, it worked. But yeah, the gist of it was that we are on to the next week. We can celebrate that one, and we're going to take that same tact here on College Football Pregame because we are looking ahead to some big-time action like the 72nd Sihawk game landing in Ames this year. We've got Iowa, Iowa State. Cyclones already 2-0, ranked number 16 in the country. But Danny, you're a big fan of the quarterback on the other side.
I am, and he was quiet last week. He was only 8 of 16 for 44 yards through the air. But I think offensive coordinator Tim Lester might have been holding some things back to show for this game specifically. And Rocco Becht, you mentioned Emily, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Always typically a lower scoring affair that should come down to the wire.
Yeah, we could see some offense in this one for the first time in a while. Meanwhile, the border showdown is back. We got Kansas and Missouri battle in a series that started back in the late 1800s, but has not been played since the Tigers left for the SEC in 2011. A lot of bad blood behind the scenes. But BMAC, what do you think of the matchup on the field?
Rivalry renewed. And you talked about offense. I think there will be an explosion of offense coming from either side. You look at what Mizzou has been doing, averaging in one ball game, almost 600 yards of total offense. But the thing I love about this matchup, Mizzou has had Kansas number winning the last 3 meetings. Let's see, can that trend change in favor of Kansas?
And in the CBS Big Ten Game of the Week, the Ducks are 27.5-point favorites over Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy thinks that's also the difference in millions between their respective NIL budgets. So what happens on the field, Beanie?
I think Oregon takes this game and pits it out of reach. You got to love Dante Moore. There's been big talk in Oregon about if they can fill the shoes of Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix. Dante Moore is a guy to get that done. He played phenomenal last week. He's just going to start coming into his own.
More conference pride on the line when Arizona State takes on Mississippi State. Sun Devils got the better of the Bulldogs last year for its first SEC win in program history. They're ready to ring in another win. More on that later. The ringing. Hint, hint. BMAC, what stands out in this one?
I mean, this is a sneaky trap game for Arizona State. Traveling to the East Coast, it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. They're nationally ranked. And for Mississippi State, this could be a statement game early on in their season as well. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Sam Lovett. We know he can throw the football, but Danny, I didn't know he can run like he ran last week against Northern Arizona. 73 yards on the ground. If he can implement that into his game today, that offense could be humming.
All right, Kroger Field is the site of the first SEC game of the season, a rematch for the number 20 Ole Miss Rebels at Kentucky. The Cats stunned the Rebs as a 17.5-point dog last year. So let's ask our SEC correspondent, Danny, what are we keeping an eye on in this one?
This is a big revenge game. Are you kidding me? This is the game that kept Ole Miss out of the playoffs last season. Speaking of young quarterbacks, Austin Simmons, he's a two-sport athlete, finally focusing on football. He's only 19 years old, but he is as mature as it gets. Mark Stoops would love to make this game ugly, make it low-scoring, just keep it to the fourth quarter. And Lane Kiffin, I think he might be scoreboard watching at the end. If he has a chance to maybe score a late touchdown, I think he's going to take it.
All right, the only ranked-on-ranked matchup of the day, number 15 Michigan at number 18 Oklahoma. Big Ten versus SEC. Sharon Moore coaching against his alma mater. What do you expect from this big one?
I can't wait for this matchup. You know, I think everybody's been excited about John Mateer. Obviously, we got a chance to see him play last week, go for almost 400 yards. And the big question looms is Michigan's defense too depleted to slow down this high-octane offense that Oklahoma possesses? And then on the flip side of that, what's the young quarterback in Bryce Underwood going to look like? Is this moment going to be too big for him?
I feel like that's been most of the talk this week is what is Bryce Underwood going to do on the road? SEC atmosphere, a great defensive coordinator like Brent Venables. So, Danny, what's that like from a quarterback position?
So we saw last week, we saw several quarterbacks struggle on the big stage. Arch Manning probably most famously with Beanie's Buckeyes getting a big win. I think it is completely normal. We get so ahead of ourselves with young quarterbacks because they're 5 stars or because they were big additions in the transfer portal that we just expect them to go out there and flourish. It takes time to learn how to play the position. It takes time to get used to those hostile environments where you can't communicate with your offensive line. You can't hear anything. The opposing crowd is taunting you, harassing you. It takes a while for that to get comfortable. Bryce Underwood is one that's going on the road for the first time. He looked comfortable at home. This defense is going to be filthy. We'll see if he can buck that trend for most of the part. And he's a true freshman.
Yes.
We're talking about guys that were just first-time starters, but they had been there a while. This kid's only been on campus since January. So very, very interesting storyline to keep an eye on in Norman.
The best way to get your young quarterback to be in a comfort mode, run the football. And that's one thing you would never question with a Michigan-led offense, regardless if I'm the quarterback or if Emily is the quarterback. One thing they will be able to do is run the football. And right now, who they have in the backfield, Justice Haynes, can go. I played with his father in Pittsburgh with Ron Haynes, and when you look at what he did a week ago, almost 160 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns, they're going to implement that into their offensive regimen early in the ball game to be able to provide a sense of comfort for Bryce Underwood to be able to make the routine plays happen routinely.
Yeah, the transfer from Alabama had just one rushing game of 100 yards last year for the Tide. You can tell Michigan's really starting to use him. But come on, as our defensive rep here, there's obviously a size difference between me and Bryce Underwood. So what would you do? What would you do to make an impact on the rookie QB?
Well, me personally, I want to manipulate his eyes. You know, oftentimes in college football, we see defenses do what? They just show up and show you what they're doing. That's 7-on-7 for these quarterbacks, but go ahead and show him one thing and roll into another coverage. Manipulate the disguise concepts in the back end. It should be easier to do with a young quarterback, to Danny's point. This is his second start and it's on the road. The atmosphere has to be electric there in Oklahoma, but defensively, and Brent Venables does a great job in being able to move people around in the coverage, move people around on the second level, and be able to show him one thing but play something else, and then also bring a little bit of pressure as well.
You know what else they can do, Emily? They can run Bryce Underwood. That's one, because as a quarterback, we saw Arch last week struggle to see things. Like, it's just hard. You can't see the secondary. You don't know what you're seeing sometimes. A lot of the QB run designs, they're a little bit simpler as far as what to read. You can just let Bryce Underwood go be an athlete because he's an exceptional runner with the football. They didn't showcase that against New Mexico. I think that's something I think that's the thing for a lot of the teams that played easier opponents and now they're getting to a bigger opponent. They kind of hold back some things offensively scheme-wise. I think Bryce Underwood, they'll have some more quarterback design runs where you take some of the decision-making off his shoulders and say, just go be an athlete, make some big plays for us.
You're going to see that on the other side, too, with John Mateer. I mean, he runs like crazy, and although He's played a lot of football, way more than Bryce Underwood. This is kind of first big game for him, too, coming in as a transfer from Washington State. I mean, what should we expect from him?
It most certainly is. I don't think the moment will be too big for him because he's been in other games before, and he's an experienced quarterback. And anytime you got an experienced quarterback, you can throw them out there in the fire and expect them to deliver. But he's different. In my opinion, he's going to be one of those guys we're talking about at the end of the year who's going to be in our Heisman race. He has a big arm, can command the offense, can make plays, like you just mentioned, with his legs on a consistent basis. He's going to be a guy that we look at and say he's going to be the reason why Oklahoma has turned this program around.
Benny, you said something very, very important. You said at the end of the year. I think tonight is a Heisman statement night for John in terms of everything you said with the individual skill set, the experience, and the belief that he has that he can go ahead and orchestrate this offense to be at their best. And yes, there are a lot of college football fans who know who John Mateer is, but there are a lot of fans who don't because he was at Washington State. You didn't stay up past 12 midnight on the East Coast to watch him play. This kid could ball. My only question for their offense, can they run the football? Because a week ago, they didn't do a great job running the football against a team they should have dominated in the trenches and run the football. But can they get the running game going? Because we know he can throw it around the yard. But if they can find a way to provide a sense of balance, that could make their offense unstoppable in tonight's matchup.
The one question mark for Mateer when he was coming from Oregon State was how would he do against elevated competition? And he was stellar last week, but against Eastern Illinois, or Eastern, I don't even know what team they played, Illinois State, whatever directional school it was, he lit him up, but I still don't think he answered that question. And I think he'll be fine. But BMAC mentioned something. That offensive line was the one question mark this offseason, and they did not do much to silence their critics in that opener, being able to run the football. Mateer, watch out for his legs. If he's running for his life, I still think he can make plays, but they've got to have some balance. They brought in Jaden Knott from Cal. He's a really talented running back. They've got to provide some balance. You don't want to be one-dimensional going against a defense like Michigan's.
Yeah, you talk about how tonight could be a Heisman moment for him. Despite the fact that they didn't play much competition in week one, we're already talking Heisman with him. So Mackenzie Brooks, where have his odds gone after week one?
Well, they've certainly climbed down here. Now, buying in on Heisman is tough. It's almost like buying stocks. You want to get them at the right time, buy low, sell high, all of those situations. So what we do with our model and what odds makers do as well when they come up with these lines is they're taking their stat threshold, the percent chance of them hitting those 40-plus passing and rushing touchdowns combined, and then they're taking what can this team do to exceed the expectations of the team and the storyline of the season in general. So for a guy like John Mateer, it's make the playoff would be exceeding the expectations. We give them a 13% chance to do that, and then we give him a 75% chance to hit his stat thresholds that he needs to stay in this competition. So that's around a 10% chance, and that implies around plus 880. On sportsbooks right now, you can get him around 17-1, so that's certainly phenomenal value. I would buy in on him right now, especially before this Michigan game. Again, if you see him perform well, you'll see that 17-1 probably go somewhere closer to 10-1. And then there's other guys out there like an Arch Manning, who also has a really, really good chance of hitting a stat threshold. We give him a 90% chance to do that, and then we only give them around a 6% chance to win out after losing that Texas game. This is a team that is expected to win the SEC championship. That is honestly the bar we're going to see for Arch, considering how much competition there is with quarterbacks in this competition this season. So again, that's still a pretty solid chance. We would set that at 14-1, and you're getting around that price right now, around 18-1, but he is a guy I would honestly buy on now, because when he starts to hit these softer schedule games coming up with the Manning name, this will just get shorter and shorter and shorter. So two guys specifically on Saturday morning I would get before their odds get shorter after tonight.
While we're talking postseason, what's on the line in this game as far as the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to Michigan, Oklahoma, that is probably the biggest game with implications this weekend, because I know it's not a conference game, but for Michigan, the key to making it into the college football playoff is going 10-2, right? So right now we give them a 37% chance to make the college football playoff. If they win this game, that goes above a coin flip around 54%, but if they lose this game, that drops to around a 30%. That 30% is heavily coincided with their chance to go 10-2, because if you lose this game, you really only have that Penn State game as the other game you can lose all season. So that's a situation they're in. Odds aren't as crazy for a team like Oklahoma, because if they go 9-3 in a schedule in the SEC with that strength of schedule, they probably have a better case, maybe more wiggle room to still make it in the college football playoff if everything works out their way. But for a Big Ten school specifically, for Michigan specifically, 10-2 has to be the bare minimum for this team.
Yeah, for Oklahoma, that schedule is absolutely brutal. So a win tonight would go a long way. Mackenzie Brooks, thank you so much. We'll talk to you throughout this show. But we have an Ohio State alum here, so we might as well talk about the Buckeyes.
Absolutely.
They ended last season at the top, and it took 1 week for them to go right back to number one. What do you think about this year's Buckeyes team being the number one team in the nation?
You know, they're completely different than last year's team, obviously. You know, when you talk about the players that we lose and Will Howard and Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, the big play running game that we had, they're still very good on the offensive end. You go back and you look at last week at Julian Sand, and you can sit there and look at his numbers, 120-some yards, and it didn't blow anybody away. But when you watch the detail that he had in decisive decisions that he made in that football game, I think that has to be the encouraging point. And then on the flip side of that, you look at the defense. Look at what Matt Patricia was able to do to Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian in shutting them down and confusing the young quarterback. This team, in my opinion, will be better defensively than what we saw last year. I most certainly believe Ohio State will indeed be in the college football playoff, potentially another national championship.
Woo! Okay, see, I don't want to ask you this question because I already knew your answer. So I'll ask Danny. Is this the number one team in the country right now?
I don't think so.
no.
Here's how I do it. So here's what you're supposed to do if you're an AP voter. You're supposed to forget everything you thought you knew in the offseason and go with what you know on the field. And I had Ohio State second, and boy, Ohio State Buckeye fans, you would have thought I would have said that they were going to go 6-6. LSU had I'm a believer in resumes, like who has done the most on the field rather than who we think are the best teams. And I thought LSU's win was more impressive for two reasons. One, it was on the road in one of the more hostile environments in the country. And two, it was against a veteran, experienced quarterback in Cade Klubnik. And they made him look like a first-year starter. I'm not taking away from what Ohio State did. They got the win. It was super impressive. And Ohio State fans are like, well, we beat the number one team in the country preseason. I know. I don't think Texas is even going to make the playoffs. I think they're 9-3 when it's all said and done. I still think Clemson is going to win the ACC. I think they'll be fine. So if you compare those wins and you just have one game to go by, I think LSU should be number one.
Oh my God. I understand.
We all need a moment after that. I don't even know which string to pull on.
Before I go into what I'm going to say,
yes.
You said Texas will not. Make sure we clip that and send that to all the SEC
outside
folks
looking
out
in
there. But I get where you're coming from. No question in terms of the resume when you look at LSU's win and Ohio State win. Going on the road, especially playing a top 10 team with an experienced quarterback, experienced coaching staff, is very, very difficult to do. But also playing against a team at home where many felt like had the most talented quarterback in college football along with a great coach, and you had to replace so many NFL pros who are no longer there, along with both coordinators who are no longer there as well, is a plus. And oh, by the way, Julian Sane was making his first start, and he outplayed the potential at that time Heisman favorite. So, me personally, it can go either direction. I think there's no wrong answer in my opinion. If you have LSU 1, I understand. If you have Ohio State 1, I understand as well. And it's only week 2. Yeah. Everything will work itself out at the end of the day.
Be back, I don't understand, though. I don't understand LSU.
Well, I'm like, but there's no, it's number 2. It's not like I had them outside the top 25. Yes. I have Ohio State 2. I know, right. You would have thought I said they're going 6-6.
Well, there is probably a fan base that's feeling a little disrespected right now. Conventional wisdom would say Penn State was 2. They should move up to 1. I just feel the need to mention the Nittany Lions. But speaking of the Big Ten, the number 6 team in the country is in action on CBS this afternoon. The Ducks hosting Oklahoma State. There have been some words shared between these two coaches this week. We'll have more on that later in the show.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, that
bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I have sway in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect this city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at Citya. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's taunt skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Back here on College Football Pregame, let's get you your injury report ahead of Week 2 action. And we start in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams remaining a game-time decision for today's game against Louisiana Monroe. Williams suffered a concussion in last week's loss to Florida State. Alabama also dealing with injuries to running back Jam Miller, as well as defensive lineman Tim Keenan and Jeremiah Beeman, who are all out today. Taking a look out west, where Oklahoma State will be without starting quarterback Haas Haney for their game at number 6 Oregon this afternoon. That means redshirt freshman Zane Flores will get the nod for a second straight week. Kickoff for that one is set for 3:30 Eastern in Eugene. You can catch all the action on CBS and streaming live on Paramount Plus. Mizzou will be without kicker Blake Craig for today's big rivalry game against Kansas. Craig tore his ACL trying to make a tackle in the second half kickoff in last week's blowout win over Central Arkansas. He will miss the rest of the season. Freshman Robbie Meyer will handle the place kicking duties today for the Tigers, with kickoff set for 3:30 Eastern in Columbia. Another big rivalry game today in the state of Iowa, Sihawk game between Iowa and Iowa State. The Hawkeyes will be missing a couple of key pieces on offense. Running back Kamari Moulton ruled out. Wide receiver Reese Vanderzee considered doubtful to play. They're going to kick off at noon Eastern out in Ames. Some more injuries we are monitoring on this college football Saturday. We got some good news, not all bad news, for Texas Tech. The Red Raiders will have quarterback Baron Morton in the starting lineup against Kent State. Morton was day-to-day this week in practice after hurting his leg last week in a win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. Also, Clemson star receiver Antonio Williams, he's unlikely to play when the Tigers take on Troy. Williams injured his hamstring in last week's loss to LSU. Just couldn't wait till Saturday, could we? James Madison and Louisville kicking off last night. A big win for the Cardinals. This one was kind of squirrely. They had a tie game for a little bit in the second half, but Louisville comes away with the 28-14 victory. Miller Moss finishing with a 13 of 23 stat line for 151 yards. This is what he looks like so far between week 1 and week 2. High expectations for him coming over to Louisville, pairing up with that head coach, but so far, solid start for him. A lot of quarterbacks, though, we want to watch when it pertains to the transfer portal market, because we're always seeing movement. How about Darian Mensah against number 18 Illinois? Comes into their building, they get to host him in Durham, but there's a lot of expectations for somebody who's reportedly making $8 million over 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
$8 million.
$4 million a year. At Duke.
They're paying.
Duke's investing in him. And he was a great quarterback at Tulane last season against Elon in their first game. A little bit squirrely. I like that word, early. They scored 3 touchdowns late to make the score look a little bit more deceiving. He's athletic. What I worry about him is he's going against an Illinois defense, which is pretty nasty. They've got a freshman at tackle, Duke does. Gabe Backus is a player to watch out for coming off the edge from Illinois that could make it a really, really long night for Darian Mensah. But he does have some pretty good receivers. He can make some plays with his legs. And I just wonder if Brett Bielema tries to keep it out of his hands altogether by running the ball downhill right at Duke's defense.
I think that's most certainly, that's most certainly what Brett Bielema's going to have to do. He's going to have to keep Darian Mensah off the football field because he is a game changer. And if I'm Brett Bielema, I'm throwing every blitz possible at this quarterback and seeing if this moment is going to be too big for him. Yes, we watched him play in big games down at Tulane, but we haven't seen him go against a Big Ten style defense. How will he fare with the likes of 275-pound defensive ends that can run 4.4s off the edge coming after him? Will he be able to escape that pocket? That's going to be real interesting to watch.
And don't forget about Luke Altmaier, all right?
Yeah.
I understand he's not getting $8 million for two years, but he can play some football. He's done a really good job in orchestrating that offense. This is a sneaky good game also. I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Manny Diaz and his staff down there in Durham. Of course, a basketball school that's playing some really good football. But if you're Darian, this is why you got the money you receive. Show your worth. $8 million for 2 years, I mean, that's an NFL salary. So we need to see NFL production right now. In this new NIL landscape in college football, and I'm all for players getting paid. But you got to show up. You got to show up and ball out. If you're a 5-star player in terms of NIL money, you got to be a 5-star player on the football field. And he has to be a 5-star player tonight for them to have any shot in winning this ball game.
That's why I introduced him that way, because the money is what carries with you and brings those expectations. Speaking of 5-star quarterbacks, there were 5 stars put next to Nico Iamaleava's name. Not a 5-star performance in week 1. Tough test against UNLV in week 2. You're huffing and puffing. What do you need to see out of Nico in round 2 with the Bruins?
Confidence. Confidence. I understand he played against Utah, and Utah was like, coming out. This was not necessarily a revenge game, but Utah did not have the Utah like a year ago because of injuries. And they came out and they dominated. But the thing about Nico, he just didn't look confident. He didn't look like he had the belief in what he needed to do offensively, and then most importantly, the guys that were surrounding him. Danny, he threw for 136 yards. 136 yards. And I'm telling you right now, everything that Nico does with UCLA this year, we will always compare to what he did at Tennessee. I watched Tennessee last week. That offense was humming. And I understand you don't want to have buyer's remorse or divorce remorse. It's almost like, man, we're going to always have this comparison. Did he leave too soon? Should he have stayed with his old ex? Because his old ex has upgraded, it sounds like, when you look at the quarterback and what they're doing offensively. And for the first outing with Nico against Utah, it didn't look good. That's why today you have to bounce back. You have to do so with confidence and high-level production, in my opinion, if I'm Nico.
You know what's really hard to do and hard to get confidence? When you're running for your life. Shout out to the Cover 3 boys. They found a stat for me. He was pressured on 58% of his dropbacks. So almost half the time when he just drops back to pass, somebody is in his face. He's getting hit, he's getting flushed from the pocket, or he's getting outright sacked. That, to me, is the biggest thing they can do to build up that confidence. And they should be able to do it against a UNLV defense, which we've seen struggle early this season. So that, to me, is the biggest key for UCLA. It's protect Nico, give him better protection. He's no quarterback, I don't care who you are, like seeing guys in your face flash in front of you every single time you drop back to pass. They've got to do a better job protecting him, or UCLA is going to lose this game outright. Dan Mullen's got a pretty good offense out there, and they better not be hanging their heads thinking, man, we just got smoked. We had, and Nico, I'm having second thoughts. The minute those doubts start to creep in, UNLV sees this as an opportunity. It's their Super Bowl. They're in the mix now with Boise State losing in the group of 5. Huge opportunity for UNLV.
Dan Mullen will join us later on in the show, so we'll talk to him about that directly. Nico was sacked 4 times, which led the country in week 1. So hoping to spend more time on his feet than on his back. But he was also the team's leading rusher. And speaking of rushers, Justice Haynes, you talked about him a little bit earlier and how he is a quarterback's best friend. What does he need to do tonight on the road against Oklahoma?
They just need to give him the football. He's going to do what he does. He's going to run between the tackles, going to be that hard-nosed, bell cow running back that he can be. I know Tony Alford really well. He was, of course, the running back coach at Ohio State. He loves this kid. And when you watch him play, you can't help but fall in love with him. And B-Mac said something earlier. At Michigan, they're going to run the football, no matter who's that quarterback. But what's better way to make your young quarterback comfortable than just turn around and hand this guy the football 20 to 25 times in a game, especially of this magnitude, knowing that it's going to be a tough environment, and things are going to get shaky at times when you got a runner that can, rip off 15 yards, 20 yards at a clip and still grind out those tough ones. It's going to make you feel a whole lot more comfortable in your play calling.
Yeah. Is it easier to hand the ball off than it is to throw it?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that was a question that's a very easy yes, but definitely when you're a young quarterback in a road environment, that is your best friend. All right, on week 2, the trash talk is in mid-season form. Coaches going at it. Dabo, BK, players getting in on it too. We got some spice next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think?
Tonight's the night. Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect this city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming of the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at City High. Superb finish. Oh, that's it! Mix of it.
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the Scudetto now.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's taunt skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
We've got some breaking news out of the NFL where the Browns are signing second-round pick Quinshon Judkins to his rookie contract. That is the latest from our Jonathan Jones. The rookie out of Ohio State was the final unsigned draft pick in this year's class. Judkins was arrested on battery charges back in July over an alleged domestic incident, but those were dropped last month. It's a fully guaranteed 4-year, $111.4 million deal for the number 36 overall pick in this year's draft. While Judkins has signed his rookie deal, he is not expected to play tomorrow against the Bengals. Let's Go back to college football. Some head coach back and forth. Mike Gundy got the ball rolling by calling out Oregon's deep pockets, and Dan Lanning responded. Let's take a listen.
What I hear chatter from coaches around the country is that non-conference scheduling, and I never thought anybody would ever say this, should be based on the financial situation for each school. I guessed that the last 3 years that we spent around $7 million over the 3 years, and I think Oregon spent close to 40 last year alone.
We spend to win. Some people save to have an excuse for why they don't, right? And ultimately, like, he's a great coach. They've done an unbelievable job, but I want to be a team that's competing at the highest level, and we're really fortunate to be in that situation.
I was told we were supposed to be worried about the players being solely focused on money. Turns out it's the coaches. What do you think about that little quip back and forth?
I love it. Most importantly, because it adds more fuel to the matchup, me personally. And one thing we know about Coach Dan Lanning, he takes these things personal. Oh, yeah. Right? And it will be on display in terms of how he coached the game. But this is the landscape of college football. Is it fair? No. But was it fair to UT Martin, Oklahoma State, who you played last week, who clearly didn't have the NIL resources that you had, that you beat up on? Was it fair for them? No. So that's the issue that we're living in. It's hard, but it's fair. Because every school will go against a school that might have more NIL money than you. You have to go out and still compete to some degree. When you look at college football playoffs last year, guys, Arizona State, they made the playoffs, right? I have yet to hear that they have an abundance of money when it comes to the NIL resources.
Kenny Dillingham has been begging for new facilities all offseason.
Indiana, didn't they make the playoffs? They got a lot of NIL money. They found a way to make do. So, Coach Gundy, make do. And if you don't like where this world is going, just retire and go cook brownies. Because this is what it is right now until the NCAA provides some type of structure. You have some other schools that have more money. They can go out and allocate to these players to get the top players. For those who can't, you still have to find a way, like what we saw from Indiana, like what we saw from Arizona State a year ago.
Yeah, man, let's not act like Oklahoma State is one of those schools that's starving for dollars. Yeah. They've been making money hand over fist for a long time, just like a lot of these other universities. So for him to complain, I don't get it. I like the banter back and forth with the coaches, but nonetheless, at the end of the day, you still have to go out and coach. Coach your guys up and get them in position to go out and win a football game. And don't worry about, oh, we don't have the same money and the same budget as Oregon. Not a lot of schools do. They got one of the richest people in Phil Knight back in that university. So accept that and move on and go coach your players up. I mean, the last thing I want as a player is to hear my coach complaining about what we don't have as we're getting ready to play a football team. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't think he's wrong. I think he's stating facts, but it sounds like you're making excuses before. And Oklahoma State was on the cusp of a national championship back in 2012 when they got left out of the championship game when LSU-Bama played in that rematch. T. Boone Pickens was still alive. Yes, I mean, he was cutting those checks. I almost wonder if this is Mike Gundy more making a plea to his boosters, to his collective, saying, hey, we need more so that we compete against those. But you guys make great points. I don't like it. Maybe that's an off-season conversation. That is not before you're about to play Oregon as a 4-touchdown underdog. It does sound like you're making excuses.
Well, that wasn't the only NIL talk this week. Our friend AJ McCarron, who maybe we should bring on and ask him about this specifically, but he was talking about Alabama is not spending like the big boys are. What do you think about what
it's not impacting them. So do you realize? So our 24/7, we have the blue chip ratio that Bud Elliott puts out, and we have the 24/7 talent team composite. It basically says how much talent do you have on your roster. They have the same amount of 4 and 5 stars as Ohio State, and they have the second best roster in the country right behind Georgia according to the total team composite. So I don't know what they're crying about. Like, the team is still talented. Coming into the season, preseason expectations, why did everybody pick them to win by 2 touchdowns? Why did everybody have them to compete in the SEC? It's because they've got talented players on the roster. I do think long-term it is something to keep an eye on, but coming out with this now makes zero sense to me because talent is not an issue in that Alabama locker room. To me, it does come down to coaching and talent development, which is why Dbor is taking so much heat right now.
It came down to coaching a year ago. So that's the issue. It's not about talent or not having any. They had a lot. They just about coaching.
Well, I love that you mentioned talent because, again, we can talk to AJ about the dollars and cents and everything, but I've got somebody that I want to bring in here, Cooper Patagna, who does a lot of the rankings for 24/7 and has scouted a lot of these players. Coop, where would you put this roster in terms of talent among all of college football? Top 10? Top 5? What does Alabama have?
Interesting question. I went through myself and I said, all right, how many teams' rosters would I take over what Alabama has right now? I think you can make the argument for about 6 of them. So they're still in the top 95 percentile of college football in one of the, I would say, premier legitimate title contenders as well. Obviously, that didn't show up on the field, but exactly what Danny said, I don't think it's a lack of talent. You look at the last decade for Alabama, 7 of the last 10 classes for Alabama have either ranked number 1 or number 2, and none of them have been outside of the top 5. So you can't tell me that this is really a talent issue where they have talent on the offensive line with guys like Caden Proctor, Jaden Roberts. You go to the receiver, you got Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, who's an NFL guy as well, and a loaded running back room. And defensively, they have talent there as well. I think those question marks start to seep in and maybe helps you identify what the actual cause of the problem is. It's not a talent thing, and I really don't understand that being the narrative around this team not living up to performance.
Yeah, go look at some mock drafts. You'll see some members of the Crimson Tide on them. Coop, thank you so much for joining us. You'll be with us all season long talking about the talent on these rosters. But coming up next, week 2 is an early rivalry weekend of sorts. A rivalry renewed with the battle for the war drum. Kansas, Mizzou, Jayhawks head coach Lance Leipold joining us next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect this city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at Citya. Superb finish. Picks up it.
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Rivalry renewed, the 121st edition of the Border Showdown, the first since Mizzou left for the SEC in 2011. We've waited 14 years for this, and this is a rivalry that the teams have met every year since 1919. The series started in 1891. We've been doing this for a long time, and we are so glad to finally have it back. So who better to talk to about this game than the head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks? We have Lance Leipold here on College Football Pregame. And Coach, this is your first Border Showdown, but we've had 120 of these. So who do I have to thank for getting this rivalry back on my TV?
Well, good morning to everyone, and thanks for having us on. It's great to have this game back on the schedule. I know when I accepted the job 5 years ago that it was on the docket to be renewed. So I know both programs, states, and universities are excited for this day, and should be an exciting day.
Coach, your quarterback is pretty special, Jalen Daniels. He's on fire early. 7 touchdowns, just 1 interception, and he's had a little bit of a bumpy career, right? He's struggled with injuries. Last year was a little bit up and down, consistency-wise. How good does it feel him back playing to this level of play where we're seeing that same player that was predicted to be Big 12 Player of the Year last season ago?
Well, yeah, Danny, as you know, he's had a bumpy road through his college career, but he's been extremely loyal to this program and to our university. And right now, he's playing his best football. He's had a great camp. He's in great shape. He's focused. He's really gotten to know and help our new receivers that have come on board through the portal. And again, he's a leader of this football team, and we need him to be at his best today.
Coach, when you look at this offense that you're facing off against in Mizzou, I think they're top 10 in FBS in total yards offensively, roughly under 600 yards. What's the mindset defensively for your guys in going out to, most importantly, neutralize some of their production offensively?
Yeah, again, they've added Bo Prabilla from Penn State, and he's an outstanding dual threat quarterback, and again, a very, very explosive offense that you alluded to in their opener last Thursday night. And for us, again, it always starts up front in these games, and we've got to be good in the defensive line. We feel that's where some of our most experience lies. And again, for us coming out of this, we got to be good on first down. As you guys know, if you're playing second and short against second short, third and short, they can dial up anything they want. So, being successful on first down is going to be a key in this game.
Coach, we understand how good Jalen Daniels is and has been for that program, but I'm a running back, so I got to go to the running game. How important is it for Daniel Hishaw to have a great game if you guys are going to have an opportunity to win this one?
Very important. Daniel Hishaw is another guy, much like Jalen. He's had an interesting path and a lot of bumps along the way health-wise. But he's a back with excellent speed, and he's very powerful. And we know Daniel needs to have a big day. LeSean Williams, the transfer from Iowa, did not play last week for us. He should be available today, and we feel that's a really nice 1-2 punch for us that can be productive in days like today, because it's going to be a day of tough sledding, and you got to be willing to fight for those 3-4 yard gains, keep those chains moving as best you can.
Coach, this is a rivalry renewed. It's a hate-filled rivalry. How do you balance those emotions? What's your message to your team to make sure they don't get caught up inside some of that emotion? Fans are going to be calling them out, taunting them the entire game. What's your message to your team going into an emotionally charged game like this?
Again, like you said, there'll be a lot of energy and emotion in this game. We've got to go out there with great enthusiasm and focus and work on being consistent, okay? The more consistent football team will win today, and controlling what we can control and not letting, like you said, those outside distractions become distractions that affect performance and focus. So it'll be challenging for this group. We know that, but I've liked the way we've approached this week and the way we've gone about it. And here we'll get this thing kicked off here in a few hours.
We are so excited about this game, Coach. One more from me. You got the War Drum rivalry back. You got a brand new stadium. I know you're going on the road today, but how much excitement is around this Kansas program right now?
Well, there is. There's great excitement. Our support has increased immensely. The job Travis Goff has done as our athletic director, and the buzz around Kansas football is probably as good as it's been since 07, 08, and things like that, maybe even at all-time high. And to see that kind of commitment and energy to our program and university is special, and we want that to be the way that it is for years to come.
I love it, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us here on College Football Pregame. Good luck today.
Thank you very much. Rock chalk.
Well, there you have it. We wait until we say goodbye to the head coach before we pick this game. We want to have a nice, neutral atmosphere here. You're not going to have to be pressured by who we talk to, but who you got winning this game?
I'm taking Mizzou.
Oh, see, that's why we wait until we say goodbye.
Is Coach gone? He gone?
He's gone.
I got to make sure he's off the screen right now. But I'm taking Mizzou, and here's why. Just the home atmosphere is very, very important. And like we said, this is a rivalry renewed. But in rivalry games, that home team has a lot in terms of their favor with momentum and the fan participation. I think that plays a part. Not to mention, yes, we only seen one game from Mizzou, but the balance that they have in terms of running the football and throwing the football, not to mention Bo being a +1 in the running game, I think will provide issues for Kansas in terms of getting the necessary stops. And Coach talked about how important first down situations will be for their defense. So I'm taking the home team. I think with this rivalry being back in place, that atmosphere is going to be electric. In the last 3 outings, when these two teams faced off against each other, went in favor of Mizzou as well. So I like to follow that trend.
Yeah, B-Mac, I'm not with you. I got to go Kansas.
But look at what you're wearing.
Yeah, I know,
what
right?
Are we doing?
I love Jalen Daniels. I mean, I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. Obviously, he's been there a long time, a huge staple point for that offense, but he's so efficient, and he makes the right decisions. He commands the offense, and anytime this team is in a tough matchup, he always rises to the occasion. I don't think today will be any different.
I'll break the tie.
Okay.
I'm going with Kansas.
Ooh.
Rock chalk in this one. I think the difference is veteran quarterback play. Jalen Daniels is a dynamic special player. He can throw it, gets the big plays through the air, and he is a dynamic runner with the football. On the flip side, Eli Drinkwitz wasn't even sure who his starter was going to be going into last week. He was going to play 2 quarterbacks. Sam Horn gets hurt, so it kind of resolved itself for it. We haven't seen Bro Pribula very much in these types of environments with this sort of, a quality opponent that he's going to have to go into. Lance Leipold has built Kansas into a program that is one of the tougher outs in college football. It's one of the best coaching jobs I've seen. Kansas was at the bottom of the Big 12. He took the job late after spring football, and within just a few years, people look at them completely differently. I think this stamps Kansas as one of the powerhouses back in college football.
We've got a stripe out in Memorial Stadium, too, so this one's going to be absolutely rocking. Speaking of, we got our guys in the lab right now. Mackenzie Brooks, Mikey Overs, cooking something up for us. Stay tuned to find out where you should place your money. What's next?
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver, touchdown!
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year!
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals!
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I have sway in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise,
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
Chicago.
Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at City. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Back here on College Football Pregame, and boy, do we have some great matchups in Power Conference. On CBS, we got Oklahoma State, Oregon. We've got the first SEC game of the season with Ole Miss, Kentucky. A little rematch, hopefully, for the Rebels in that one. Arizona State on the road at Mississippi State. And then the headliner, Michigan and Oklahoma. Mackenzie, Mikey, people are sleeping on this Week 2 action, but that's when the real chaos starts.
There's always ways to make money, and me and Mike are going to do it here in Week 2. We both have two best bets. Not to put the pressure on, these do need to be your favorite bets of the weekend to give you guys for this Week 2 slate. Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing to do, and maybe this is what makes me different than everyone else, is I love looking at a college football slate where everyone goes, that's disgusting. And that's what this is.
Correct.
I'm going to start you off, though, with the coach we actually just had on the show. I'm actually all over Kansas plus 6.5. I think this is a Jalen Daniels potential Heisman year. I love what they added in the portal with guys like Emmanuel Henderson. And I think if there was a guy that I would back going into any stadium in any conference and covering a spread or potentially, you know, sending the fans home a little bit upset, it's Jalen Daniels and this Kansas team that over 2 weeks have looked good.
You are the biggest Jalen Daniels truther, which, you know what, I respect it. I'm going to take us over to the SEC here, Ole Miss, Kentucky. Ole Miss team total over 29.5. One thing Lane Kiffin likes to do is put up style points, and he needs to, especially in these conference games, because they're probably not making the SEC championship. They're looking to be that third best team, maybe fourth best team to be able to make the college football playoff, so you know he will not be taking his foot off the gas. Also, they were up 42-7 against Georgia State last week. Georgia State starts taking out their starters. Lane Kiffin says 3 more touchdowns for us. Put up a 60-burger.
He also has good style.
That also. The vibes at Ole Miss are phenomenal.
Like, incredible.
And that's coming from a Georgia girl. So that's what I'm going to go with for that bet. One more best bet I like, the ponies. SMU Mustangs. You know we both are in on the ponies here. Kevin Jennings at home is a phenomenal quarterback. We got to just wipe away the whole Penn State playoff situation. This game is not in Happy Valley in January, people, okay? That guy is winning games by double digits, the 5 home games Kevin Jennings started in, okay? This Baylor team, they really couldn't. They were just terrible on the run, on the road, especially in Auburn. They averaged 2 less yards per carry on the road. I think this SMU team will win the game on the ground, and Kevin Jennings just being Kevin Jennings. I think we're disrespecting the ponies here.
We're disrespecting the ponies. Also, got some buddies that will be boulevarding today.
Love that
so
for them.
So the vibes are going to be
them.
very high there in Dallas.
All right, what else you got?
My second best bet, I'm just loving points today. I like Mississippi State at home plus 6.5. It's one of those games where if it was on, you're going to just want to watch it on mute because the cowbells, top 3 most annoying thing in college football. However, Arizona State's going to have to deal with that. And I don't think it's going to be a very fun day for them. And just speaking on this Arizona State team, I think you got to show me going into this year. You won the Big 12. You shocked everybody last year, but you lost the guy that kind of ran the engines there in Cam Scatterbo. So now you got to show me, and I get Mississippi State at home with points and Blake Shapen, who is an absolute gunslinger. Yeah, I'll take the points with the cowbells.
Literally say less. I'm in on that. Emily, curious to see if anyone over there at the desk wants to tail us today.
Obviously. Of course we do. That's why we go to you ahead of this big Week 2. All right, big injury update for Alabama. An update on Ryan Williams that's coming up next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount+.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount+.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount+.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter.
Dexter.
What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount+.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus premium plan.
They're underway, and there's a massive clash at City on. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that touchdown.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount+.
You can't count on Derek's tong skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount+.
Welcome into Hour 2 of College Football Pregame presented by FanDuel. We got some breaking news into CBS Sports HQ where Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams is not expected to play today against Louisiana Monroe. That's the latest from our Matt Zenitz. He suffered a concussion in last week's loss to Florida State, did not clear protocol in time for today's contest in Tuscaloosa. Williams was a second-team All-American last season, leading the Tide in receiving yards and touchdowns in 2024. The earliest he could return is for next week's showdown against Wisconsin. We've got Danny Cannell, Beanie Wells, Bryant McFadden. I am Emily Proud, and that leads us right into our Panic Meter segment. So let me explain the numbers, what they mean. 5, full-blown panic. 4, cause for concern. 3, little worried. 2, this is fine. 1, don't fret. So let's start with 0-1 Alabama. Dbor is now 6-4 against unranked teams. Saban was 124-4. They've got no money. They've got no talent. So where's the panic meter, Danny?
I'm at a 2.
What?
Okay. I think they'll be
fine.
fine. I think they'll be fine. I'm not some caller who's going to call into a radio show and say the sky is falling. I think there's a couple things. One, I think the talent is still there. And maybe, just maybe, Florida State is a completely different program that people thought they were going to be coming off a 2-win season. The other aspect of this is a completely different college football world than you saw when Nick Saban was running the program. That's why I think he retired. He read the tea leaves and was like, you know what? The days of Alabama having this significant edge and talent over everybody are long gone. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll still be in the mix at the end of the year for the SEC. I just say let it breathe a little bit. They were on the road with Ty Simpson making his first start. They'll settle it out. Dbor did not forget how to coach.
Beanie?
Full-blown panic mode.
Whoa.
Full-blown panic mode. 5, absolutely. You know, when you go back and you look at Alabama football, one thing that they could always do was run the football and rush the passer. We saw none of that last week. They lacked identity. They were not physical on either side of the football. And the more glaring thing that I saw in that game was effort. There were so many non-effort plays by an Alabama defense. I've never seen that in my life. Danny, this may very well go back to being the Alabama of the 2002 through 2007
people forget
style
about them
Alabama.
years.
They've disappeared. This
Yeah.
very well could be that. And I know everybody talked about Kalen DeBoer getting back with Ryan Grubb. They'll get back on track. But getting back on track with Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb was going to an air raid style offense. That's not Alabama football. So cause for concern is through the roof for me.
Where's the button? I want to hit it. I don't want to just say it. I want to
Panic.
hit the button. 5. Full-blown panic. To everything Benny gave you guys, I echo that. But most importantly for Alabama fans, the things that we did not see a week ago is surfaced last year as well. A lack of toughness. You don't have to be the most talented player on the football field, but in terms of effort and just playing with grit and heart, that is who you have to be when you play football. We have yet to see that. We saw that surface in the losses a year ago. Last week, Florida State was the most dominant team, and they were tougher. They fought harder for longer. That's something that you cannot accept if you're an Alabama fan and if you were cheering for Alabama throughout the Nick Saban years. And the last thing I said about this being a full-blown panic, well, 2 more things. Ty Simpson looked a bit shaky. I don't know if you can build around him. But lastly, they have 5 ranked teams they have to play. Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, and the Iron Bowl in Auburn. If you look at that schedule and you look at what we've seen a week ago compared to what we saw last year as well and believe they can get through that gauntlet in a positive way, stop drinking the booze.
I love it. Taking a look at Alabama's schedule here. We want to transition, though, to Arch Manning. A lot of talk about him this week. Through the first 3 quarters last Saturday, 9 of 15 for 38 yards and an interception. An unnamed NFL scout told multiple media outlets that it was hard to watch. So, BMAC, where's the panic here?
Number 3.
5. Number 3.
For
okay.
me.
A little worried.
I go a little worried, and the reason why is because Arch didn't look comfortable. It looked like the moment was too big for him. And if you're a guy, if you're a dude, if you're making your first start, if you're making your 3rd or 4th start, you should never look like the moment is too big for you. And he allowed Julian Saying, who made his first start, to outplay him. So that's a concern for me. Because all the hype that Arch has received, it's unfair to him because that hype has come because of the bloodline in the last name. So the expectations are super, super high. And he may never reach those expectations. Not saying he won't be a good quarterback, but you're talking about being one of the best to ever do it. That's what people are saying with Arch Manning. So when you look at the struggles that we saw last week, I think he will bounce back. But then you look at the rest of their schedule. They got to go on the road to Florida. You know, you got to play A&M. You got a lot of Oklahoma. You got a lot of major matchups where defenses will kind of give you some of the same looks that you struggled against Ohio State. So I'm a little worried because it's just that the expectations are so high. I don't know if he can reach those expectations in his first full year as a starter.
I'm going to go 1. You know, I know he didn't look great on the road in a tough environment, but he was going against an NFL-style defense. I mean, Matt Patricia won multiple Super Bowls at the helm of coaching the New England Patriots defenses. So he threw a lot at him, and a young quarterback, when you go into a tough environment, you're going to be rattled. I think it's only a 1 for me because I understand they play San Jose State, they got Sam Houston, they got UTEP. He'll build his confidence. And we all know for a young quarterback, it's important to have confidence. And last week he didn't have it. It was tough. I think he'll get that moving forward the rest of the year.
Danny, you said you didn't think Texas was going to make the playoff. So where's the panic meter?
Which is why I think they'll be fine, because that's what I expected.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a bumpy year for Arch. I went down and watched the tape, and somebody early in my career told me something that was really valuable. After you watch the game film, it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. You kind of have to take the good with the bad. And I don't think it was awful. Clearly, there were some things where he struggled, didn't see the field too well, forced a couple balls. But I also saw him later in that game starting to get through progressions, starting to get more comfortable in the pocket. I think Sark should work a little bit more tempo, no huddle, where he can just go out there and play and find a rhythm as a passer. But I think this is going to be a bumpy year for Arch and for Texas. And ultimately, I still think he's talented. I still think he's got the skills that Sark can develop him. But it takes time. The only way to learn as a quarterback is live game action. And I know he's been there for a couple years sitting behind and watching and learning. But the only way to get used to those environments is playing in them.
I know you said what you expected from Texas. But if that became a reality, don't you think they will kind of panic in Austin if they do not make the playoffs?
Well, maybe finally they
four
realized
losses?
they were out of their minds to say they should have been the national champion favorite and Arch should have been the Heisman favorite. That to me was always ridiculousness. The fact that those type of expectations were put on somebody who hasn't played much college football. No matter who you are, no matter how many stars, it's not just the last name. The 5-star quarterbacks, they don't always hit, and usually when they do, it takes time to develop them.
Yeah, he was the #1 quarterback in that class. A class with a lot of 5-star quarterbacks as well. We're seeing Dante Moore,
you know,
Oregon, Nico Amala.
Those guys were 2, 3, and they're at different schools.
Yeah.
They don't always just hit the first year.
No, usually takes a little bit of time. That's certainly what they hope is happening in Chapel Hill right now, taking some time to warm up. Bill Belichick in college, he allowed his most points ever in a game in any aspect of his career, and 48 points, lost the starting quarterback. I know where I'm feeling right now, but Danny, where are you on the panic
So do you guys
meter?
realize this offseason I was so excited for this? I mean, this is great for college
Is that
football.
like a hoodie?
Oh, are you kidding me? I mean, this is a
cutoff.
Exactly. I went out and got this sweet North Carolina hoodie, cut off the sleeves. I was fired up
you cut
to
off
be
the sleeve.
rocking. Oh yeah, I was ready to go. Man, I am throwing this thing out. My expectations have completely changed for North Carolina. That was alarming at the highest levels because of what you saw. I thought you would see similar. Matt Patricia, NFL background, completely confused Arch Manning. You've got Bill Belichick with decades of football knowledge behind him, and that was the game plan that you could come up with to slow down Josh Hoover, and you gave up 48 points. Quarterback play after that first drive looked like a significant issue. Maybe if you switch to Max Johnson to provide some stability, somebody who's played at the elite level. But, man, my panic meter is off the charts for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Coming into the season, I thought it could be boom or bust. And, boy, it's sure looking like it's going to be a bust.
My panic meter is about a 3, and for a lot of the reasons that you just mentioned, but none more than the fact that they got 70 new guys on this roster.
And none of them look any good.
But that's insane for a coaching staff to say, we're going to go out and go get 70 essential free agents and bring them and expect them to play in jail right off the bat. But I think it'll take time. I think Belichick is smart enough, and they got enough on that coaching staff to get these guys to figure it out cohesively to where they can gel, and they'll win some football games. Will they be a college football playoff contender? No, but will they be at the bottom of the barrel? I don't think so either.
I'm right there with Benny. I'm a little worried because of the lack of toughness that I watched. That's alarming because Coach Belichick has always been a tough-minded coach, and his players are reflections of who he's been as a coach. But in terms of expectations, I never really expected to see great play from them, just more of an effort thing. But they have the luxury in terms of their schedule. They don't play Florida State, they don't play Miami, they don't play Louisville, they don't play SMU. They have Clemson. Every other team, especially when they start finding their groove with some of the new players that you mentioned, Benny, they should be okay, in my opinion. So I'm not going to full-blown panic. It was ugly. The expectations, the attention they received clearly was a big letdown. But I think they should be okay, especially when these new players get acclimated to this new system.
I love the flip-flopping that we did. You started with a very measured approach, ended on full-blown panic. You started with full-blown panic.
Bama's still got talent. UNC better beat Charlotte today. Just watch out.
Oh, boy. Okay, maybe we'll have some underdog picks later on in the show. But let's get you some picks just straight up in these games. We've got young quarterbacks in action, first-time starters, all sorts of fun. Best bets next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming of the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway in this massive clash at Cityon. Superb finish. Oh, that's it!
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that touchdown.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tong skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
We got Iowa and Iowa State, the battle for the Sihawk trophy. They are one of 7 ranked opponents playing unranked in-state opponents. We love the little state rivalries happening here in week 2. The road team has won 10 of the past 12 of these meetings since 2012. So looking at you here, Iowa. And we've got Baylor and SMU. 100 miles separate these two schools. We have not gotten this rivalry in quite a bit, but we've actually played more of these games than we have the Sihawk Trophy. Over 70 matchups between these two squads, but the first meeting since 2016. Elsewhere, we've got Louisiana Tech and LSU up to number 3 in the polls this week, coming off that big 17-10 road win at number 4. Clemson, the expectations are sky high. Got to get through La Tech today, though, first. We have our lovely Mackenzie Brooks here helping us make some money on this week 2, taking a look at the Big Ten Game of the Week on CBS, Oklahoma State and Oregon. Boy, this is a big spread, 27.5 points with the Ducks. It sounds like the odds makers are agreeing with Mike Gundy, and there might be a little bit of a difference in talent on these rosters.
Yeah, these are always tough games, especially with a primetime game as well. But I'm just saying that 27.5 point spread, not something I typically like to touch. What I will say about these big spreads, attacking the first half to me is typically the best way to go. So I take that first half with Oregon minus the 16.5. The Sportsline model, we would make it minus 20. So you are getting some pretty solid value. And then you don't have to worry about the ugly backdoor cover in the fourth quarter if that's something we're going to see. So you obviously get a redshirt freshman on the road here. And Oregon, going back to last season, it was that second half when they started to play with their food. Starting strong was never their problem. So I think you attack the first half, take that smaller-ish spread, and then you don't worry about that fourth quarter.
So Dan Lanning probably feeling a little bit slighted, too, from Mike Gundy saying that his roster just making a lot of money. You can tell. You can tell when Dan Lanning is feeling it, and he's going to lay it on in that first half. Elsewhere in college football, we've got Ole Miss and Kentucky. And I'm very interested to ask you about this because I wanted this to be my best bet a couple of days ago when it was 10.5, and that line has moved down to 8.5. What do we make of that?
Listen, I don't know what that's all about here. I mean, we would make the spread 15 if we were odds makers here. So I think you can attack the team total, like I had mentioned earlier, or attack the spread here as well, minus the 8.5. Obviously, this is a revenge game. Now, Kentucky, when they played and won that game a year ago, they had 0 interceptions. Every single game since then, leading up to this game, they have had an interception. So I'm willing to believe that that was a statistically statistical anomaly that we saw last season. And again, they have a quarterback who just is turnover prone. I mean, he's like 35 years old, going up against a 19-year-old. I like what we see with this Lane Kiffin offense. As I mentioned earlier, they are looking for style points constantly. This is the type of SEC team looking for that at-large bid. Beating up on your conference opponents like Kentucky will end up mattering. This is the team that kicked them out of the playoffs, to be quite honest, last year. So I don't think they take their foot off the gas, especially what we saw against Georgia State last weekend when they were up 42-7 and still kept playing with their starters.
You talk about coaches that like to feel slighted. Lane Kiffin absolutely will use what happened last year.
That's aware of spreads and team totals, and I believe that.
Without a doubt. Kentucky's only SEC win last year was against Ole Miss. So yeah, that did not help their college football playoff resume. A huge resume win, though, could come tonight when we've got Michigan and Oklahoma. 5.5 the points. Laying with Oklahoma in this one, but where is the play?
Oh, you know I'm a John Mateer truther. I've been on him all summer. I'm a fan of his work, but this is really just a principal play here, right? The line opens up at -1.5. That's where it should have stayed. That's what we make it. We have Oklahoma winning this game by 2 points. When you see the steam come in on this team, and now Michigan's catching 5.5 on the road, you see it go past that field goal. We're passing key numbers here. That's when I just want to lay the +5.5 with Michigan. I think there's a good chance they lose this game, probably by a field goal. Like, I think Bryce Underwood, we didn't even see him really get mobile yet. I think there's so much to unlock with him, and it just seems like the public is overreacting to what you saw from Oklahoma last week, which I do love. Yes. I do love myself some John Mateer, but again, this should be a close game, and Michigan, they would really, really, really love to have this win to help them hit that 10-2 to be eligible for the college football playoff.
Not just Michigan. The head coach of Michigan, Sharon Moore, went to Oklahoma. I'm sure he would love to come back with his new squad and beat up on his old squad. Mackenzie Brooks, thank you so much for those great bets. You can get all sorts of action throughout the week. Check out the Early Edge, a daily Sportsline betting podcast. You can watch now by scanning that QR code or listen wherever you get your podcasts. I'm sure you're sick of hearing from me, so let's go to a players-only meeting. That is coming up next as College Football Pregame rolls on here on CBS Sports HQ. Stay with us.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No. That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise,
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway in this massive clash of City High.
Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You're watching College Football Pregame on CBS Sports HQ. Let's reminisce for a little bit. I mean, what a win for our former Seminoles last week. I have to say, watching this game on the sideline with BMAC and Danny was absolutely electric. I think if Mike Norvell would have allowed them to suit up, they were game, because there's just nothing like watching your former squad get a massive win. So let's go to some of those former players for a players-only meeting. Danny, take it away.
Appreciate it, Emily. Yeah, we had a blast. BMAC was in the huddles. Like, he was high-fiving players after fourth down stops. It was incredible to watch. It was a celebration in Florida State. You would not say the same for the week it's been in Tuscaloosa for those players. I wanted to ask you guys about kind of responding to criticism, because it's a part of being a player, right? It just comes with the territory. Now they're making money. There's social media. It is everywhere. And even more specifically, Alabama players are getting called soft across the board. What would you say? I think this will be Kalen DeBoer's easiest week to coach, to motivate, because if they don't respond to all the outside noise, I don't know how they ever recover from this one. But what would you guys do as a player inside that locker room? If you're a leader in that locker room, what is your message to the players, Beanie? I'll start with you.
You know, first and foremost, just lock in. Understanding the magnitude of the moment and what's being talked about. Understanding how we just went out and played and how embarrassing it was. At the end of the day, we're all competitors. When you're in that locker room, you're out there playing for a reason. You're there for a reason. I mean, you competed at a high level in high school to earn yourself a scholarship, and you have a sense of pride about yourself to where you don't want to be talked about anything as it pertains to your effort, your energy, and your level of competition in the biggest moments. And so I think it's, you know, having a reality check with yourself and the guys in the locker room and understanding, like, what's our mental makeup? Why are we here? We can't go out and be one of those teams, especially at Alabama, a program with such rich tradition and history, talked about as being one of the softest groups to ever come through this university.
The first thing you have to do to be better is to admit you were wrong in anything you do. Right, sports, socially, regardless. You have to admit that you were wrong, so you know exactly what you need to do to improve in any aspect. And I think for Alabama players, when you hear the criticism that they're receiving from fans, from former players, look at the tape and see, you know what, it's hard to hear, but they're right. We were soft. How many times in that game against Florida State a week ago did you see an Alabama defender or offensive player getting pushed down on his behind? That is intolerable when you play the game of football. That's intolerable when you're trying to win a game on the football field. So you have to embrace it. Right. Embrace it and say, you know what? We're deserving of being called soft. Look at it. Digest it. And now say, let's go be better the next time. Oftentimes, what we do in our society is say, no, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, you're trying to justify some of the wrongness that you displayed. No, it was bad. It was worse. But guess what? We got another opportunity to become better. So that's what they have to do.
I think it's a great opportunity, because I think this is an inflection point early in this season. They should blow out their opponent today. But I think if I'm a leader in that locker room, I'm telling everybody, hey, it's almost us against the world, even our own fans. Like, and that sometimes is the hardest criticism to take, is from your own fans when they're calling you out. And fans are fickle. It doesn't matter where you go, to Ohio State, Florida State, Bama, they'll turn on you in a heartbeat. Right. And so they're starting to question your toughness, how good this team can be. So you've got to block out the noise. You've got to sort of come together. And you can galvanize in an opportunity like this if you start taking it personally, because you're right, the film doesn't lie. There were loafs out there. Yeah. There was poor effort. It was all over the field. I would also, for today's player, especially in a week like this, I would have, if I was Kalen DeBoer, I would say, let's have a no social media policy, at least for this week or for the next month. Like, stay on, please, no more TikToks from the locker room, which is stupid, but it just gives people ammunition to criticize you and say you're distracted. Does it matter if you do it in the bigger picture? No, but it does make it look like you're more worried about your brand or gaining followers. So I would tell them, stay off social media, both listening to the noise and also be careful what you put out there because it does look completely, like you just don't even care that you lost.
Right.
Because you're humans, you still want to have to get back to your life, but they've got to insulate themselves from some of the criticism or else they'll start to creep into that locker room.
Question I have for both of you guys, what do you do if you are Kalen Dbor? Do you change the style in which you've been coaching your football team all of a sudden? Do you become a more hard-nosed where I'm yelling, getting in guys' faces, opposed to the nice even kill guy that you've been? Because I think that probably is a lot of the issue. I think when you look at a lot of the guys that were on the previous roster with Nick Saban, they're not used to a coach coaching them soft or talking to them. They're used to somebody being in your face and, yelling obscenities at every turn.
Right.
So what do you do in that situation?
I think for me, if I'm Kalen Dbor, you have to understand and know your team. Do you have a group of guys who are leaders, who are mature, that can handle everything if you're being a little more lenient with them? Or do you have a group of guys, if you're showcasing that lenient mindset, they might take it and run with it? Now you have seen in a year and a half, not a year and a half, but a full year, that these guys need to have that stern discipline that Nick Saban used to give them in the locker rooms, on the practice field, on the game field. Because what you're doing right now is not working. There's no way in the world they should have lost, 4 games a year ago with the talent they had on that roster. Right. They were undisciplined. They weren't dialed in. At times they were soft. Guess what? We saw the same thing happen week 1 when you're a 13.5-point favorite. So you know what, Kalen Dbor? All that even kill and mild mannered, no. Get into into their behinds. Right now, from start to finish, this is a new day and age. This is how we're going to do it. Because if you guys want to hoist that championship trophy, I got to be different. Right now, I think he's a little too soft. And I say this all the time. Players are reflections of their coaches. Mm-hmm. If you got a soft coach, you're going to have soft players. Nick Saban was a fiery guy, in the belly, outer, inner. Guess what his team was? Fiery. We played under Bobby Bowden. Bobby Bowden was even keel. But at times, if you got Bobby going the wrong way, he would get into your behind. Mm-hmm. And guess what we did? Let it out. So I feel like Kalen Dbor, and I'm not saying, hear me, I'm not saying he's soft. I'm saying he's more even keeled compared to what they had in Nick Saban, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing on the football field.
Here's what worries me, though, to your question, Beanie. You have to be yourself. And if Kalen Dbor is more laid back and he tries to be the tough guy, the players will see right through that. Yeah. I think this is where you can do it. You can establish a toughness through practice. Maybe their practice has been a little bit too lenient, a little bit too laid back with some of your rules as far as, last year you heard players saying, we got to start getting on time to meetings. You think they were late for Nick Saban? No chance they were. Exactly. And like you said, I was thinking when you said Bobby Bowden and Mark Richt was my quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, he was pretty laid back. But we had other coaches who, Chuck Amato, Mickey Andrews, guys who you were terrified of, and they did the yelling. But I think this is going to be a real challenge because I knew there was going to be a culture shock because you can get walked all over. If you're a player-friendly coach, you hear that term all the time, and I think Kalen Dbor is probably more player-friendly than Nick Saban was. You can get walked all over. I thought those issues were ironed out last year. To see them creep in this year is definitely a little bit more concerning, but it doesn't mean you can't win that way. It's just going to take some time for those players to learn how to self-motivate, how to hold each other accountable. If the coaches aren't doing it, and so far, it does not look like it's working out very well at all. There was another topic I want to hit you guys on. We just talked to Lance Leipold earlier in the show. They have a huge, huge rivalry game. And it's one of those ones where you've got to toe the line of being emotionally charged, but yet keeping your composure. We just saw in the NFL opener a player lose his composure just from talking a little bit. How did you guys balance your emotions? If you're playing against Michigan, when we were playing against Florida or Miami, what was your mindset coming into that game? Were you a talker? Did you try to bait guys into getting penalties? How did you balance the emotions and keep your wits about you in those stages?
I always, understood the magnitude of the moment, the situation that I was in. And I was never a real big talker out there. I always wanted to let my play do the talking for me. So for me, it was easy. I could just go out there and just be myself. I didn't have to, be a rah-rah guy, so to speak, to get other people to feed off me because I knew once the whistle blew and the ball was snapped, I was going to come head hunting for whatever defender was going to be in front of me. So a little different for me, but I do see guys in certain situations charge themselves up too much to where you make those emotional decisions like we just saw the other night, and you kind of get yourself and psych yourself out of the actual game because your mental was going so far and that hatred is spewing out so much that you're really throwing yourself off. So it is a tough task for some guys.
It's tough, but I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love when you're getting ready for a ball game, you're playing against a rivalry, and everything you're doing leading up to the ball game is hate towards them. Good old-fashioned hate, football hate, sports hate. I love it. But you said something that was very, very impactful, controlling your emotions. Because your emotions could determine the outcome of ball games in these rivalries that we watch week in and week out. And not get too high and not get too low. Because oftentimes, these rivalries, I allow the fans to have more of an input than I did when I played, because I love seeing the back and forth with our fans because they're not on the football field with us. We are. So, I'm playing against Miami. I got an Andre Johnson or whoever coming up. I'm like, I'm dialed in. I ain't got to be I'm not worrying about whoever the rivalry, what's going on. I'm dialed in. But this is the thing I love about college football, man, because you talked about the rivalries and the tradition and how long they've been going on. No question, there's a lot of dislike involved, but control your emotions, most importantly.
Sihawk today, you've got the border war returning, some emotional atmospheres. My advice to quarterbacks is you kind of have to eliminate yourself from the emotion altogether. Because you have to be composed. I know if I got too fired up going into the game, I'd airmail the first ball. Everybody else listening to either hardcore rap or Metallica and really like high energy music. I'd go in the locker room, listen to gospel, like try to tone down a little bit, keep your emotions in check,
Funny story, and this was when I was in the NFL my rookie year. We're playing the Super Bowl. I'm playing in the Super Bowl as a rookie. I'm so hyped. So before the game, we run out. I'm listening so much rap music. I'm all the way here. I'm to the highest I can go. And we get out, opening kickoff. I'm charging down. I ran as fast as I could. The ball was not returned. First third down, they called nickel. I run out. I'm so high in terms of my just mindset, I almost passed out. I couldn't breathe. So I got in the huddle, and they're like, B-Mac, what's wrong with you? I'm charged up, and I'm literally get out there, and we're in the fire zone. I'm like, yo, if they throw the football to my side, I don't know what's going to happen. Because I was hallucinating because I was so high, and that's the first time I learned to myself, Mac, listen to more soft music before you go out, some R&B, some gospel, because to your point, there's such a thing as getting too high where you're not able to really mentally have everything in check so you can be at your best.
Controlled rage is what they call it.
Yeah, controlled rage, controlled chaos.
Head up, ready to go. Got to do it as a quarterback. Let's head it over to our quarterback. Back to Emily.
Hey, Danny, you are our pre-show DJ. I didn't hear any gospel. I don't know what that means about your readiness for the show. But hey, for the first time, or just the second time ever, Oklahoma State will take on Oregon. We'll take you out to Eugene. Jenny, Brad, and Gary on the other side.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No. That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter.
stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at City Eye. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
It's big time in Eugene. The CBS Game of the Week features the Ducks and Cowboys in just the second ever meeting between Oklahoma State and Oregon. Jenny, Brad, and Gary are on the call and get us ready for this Big 10 v. Big 12 showdown.
All right, we got number 6 Oregon hosting Oklahoma State today at 3:30 p.m. on CBS. And guys, there's a little bit of drama coming into this one. We had the coaches talking money. Now that we have spoken to both coaching staffs, what's your biggest takeaway?
I like the good old days when the money was in the back room. Nobody
That's right.
about it.
It was under the table.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new world, that's for sure, right?
It's a new world. Do you think that there was too much played into that aspect of it?
I just – two guys, especially Mike Gundy, he's just an honest guy. He's going to, whatever, it's coming out.
Right.
And he just said what he was thinking about. Like, in a way, I was thinking, like, I remember when we could compete with these guys even, it doesn't feel as even now to Mike.
Yeah, and, Mike said to us, I screwed up the last 3 years. We didn't get in the portal thing and the NIL fast enough. We didn't get in deep enough. We didn't get enough of Boone Pickens' money enough, all of that. And, Dan Lanning and the Oregon staff kind of took exception to that and said to us, hey, we didn't spend $40 million like he said, but they are more into it than Oklahoma State is. Yeah, maybe.
Coach Lanning was saying, we understood what was going to happen in college football. We were getting ahead of it. And
it's not like Dan's not going to use it, though, right? I mean, I don't blame him on that one. I mean, like, hey, you talk about us, we'll see you on the field.
Yeah.
All right.
And he said we spend to win. And that's the whole idea. If you want to be a top 10 team now, that's what you're all about.
That's absolutely true. We had some great interviews with different players. Spent a lot of time with Dante Moore yesterday. What were your biggest takeaways from him?
I'll tell you, you come away impressed. I mean, I thought there was an image of Dante that he was, fiddling around. He's from Michigan. Like, why wasn't he a Big Ten guy? Is he just going for the money out of Oregon? Then he goes to UCLA. This is a very focused individual. That's what I looked at. He's got a vision. He knows where he wants to go, and he's using college to get to the level he wants to get to.
Very calm guy, very thoughtful guy, and it was a joy to be with him yesterday.
What are you expecting from both these quarterbacks? Obviously, Oklahoma State, their quarterback goes down in week 1, and
honestly,
we have Zane step up.
Like Zane Flores, I've been through this as a player. I mean, I don't care who I'm playing against. I'm getting a shot to play. It's hard as a quarterback. You got to convince a lot of players. They can bring in players above you in recruiting. He's got an opportunity. He's going against a really good football team. I mean, I think the expectations are low. If I'm him, I'm all in on this game. I'm saying this is what I got, and nobody intimidates me.
I'm with Gary. He had a medical red shirt last year. The year before, it was just a straight-up red shirt. Hadn't thrown a pass, played in a game until last week. Looked pretty good, really, but this is a different level of competition today.
So we have high expectations for both these teams, but what's one thing specifically you're hoping to see from this Oregon squad this week and today?
I think the move of the team from Oregon to being more and more physical. If you look at the teams that won the championships, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, okay? Physical front, physical defensive line. I think Dan is still trying to move this Oregon team to look like that. When you look at it on tape, he's pretty close.
I said to Will Stein, could you please not use 8 running backs because I run out of space, and they might use 8 running backs today. So they get a little ground and pound, I think, today.
All right, it's all kicking off 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS.
I think Brad's got it handled with those 8 running backs. Hey, we got a big spread in this one. Oregon, the overwhelming favorite, but crazier things have happened in college football, so tune in at 3:30 on CBS for the game of the week. Mike Gundy is a one-of-a-kind figure in college football, from the hairdo to the quotes. Coming up, we'll take a look at his career and some of the most memorable moments.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity of my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I have sway in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at City High. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that touchdown.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Back here on HQ, and the Big Ten Game of the Week on CBS is Oklahoma State and Oregon. Now, we played a Mike Gundy clip from this week earlier in the show, but we would be remiss if we didn't play his most iconic clip. 15 years ago, Gundy infamously told us his age.
If anybody hasn't read this article, I don't read it. This was brought to me by a mother of children. I think this is worth reading. Let me tell you why I'm talking about this article. 3/4 of this is inaccurate. It's fiction. And this article embarrasses me to be involved with athletics. That's why I don't read the newspaper. Because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches.
So a little has changed. First off, newspaper. That was fun to see one once again. Been a while.
Amateur athlete.
Amateur athletes, that's not true anymore. So with Mike Gundy, just looking at his career as a whole, I mean, last year they broke a streak of 18 straight years making it to a bowl game, which is an incredible streak. So where do you put him, Danny, among just the best coaches in college football?
Oh, he's an all-timer. He's one of the all-time greatest coach we've seen. And I love the storyline, having played at Oklahoma State and then coached there and elevated this program. We were talking earlier in the show, they were on the cusp of potentially a national championship. You know, that was going back a decade ago. But to be one of the more consistent winners in the Big 12 has really been a testament to his career. I do worry a little bit about how this thing impacts his legacy on the back end. That last year was his worst season since his first year that he took the job. Other than that, they have been the model of consistency. But I do think this is an area where they are struggling to keep up with the NIL world, to figure out how, and we just heard Brent and Gary talking about the impact of the NIL, how they kind of late to the game a little bit. They're having to play catch up, and I think that's a big issue for Mike Gundy right now.
When you look at the consistency with Coach Gundy in terms of just being in one place for a long, long time, he's like the Kurt Ferentz of the Big 12. He's been there. He's been consistent. But to your point, Danny, it's almost like now it's starting to fizzle out a little bit. Because once upon a time, you know, when you look at Big 12 teams, you will always consider Oklahoma State to be one of those either middle-like tier teams of being closer to the top in terms of being competitive. Now we're starting to see other teams come into Big 12 and surpass Oklahoma State, the Arizona States of the world. You know what I mean? You look at what Utah has been able to do, even though they had a down year last year. So it's about getting back to being that consistent presence that we've seen throughout college football. But I applaud Mike Gundy for just being there for as long as he's been in a world where people are just jumping from pillar to post.
He's had that opportunity too.
Yeah, and he's had it. But I want to stay here because he loves it there. You talked about playing there, now coaching there. There's no other place I think he would rather coach than Oklahoma State.
Yeah, most certainly. You got to love him. You got to love everything that he's done at that program, what he's meant to just college football as a whole. We just mentioned some of it. We just heard some of his bits that are historic nonetheless. But he's been a great football coach, a pillar of success. I think one of the biggest things and question marks that you have to ask when talking about Gundy is he able to evolve with the times? We're talking about him now mentioning NIL and the transfer portal. And that's going to be the number one thing for coaches that have been in college football for a long time. We saw Nick Saban leave because potentially there's a question marks over if he was going to be able to evolve. I think that right now is the question with Mike Gundy. Can he keep up with the times? Can he still relate the guys? Is he willing to go out and say, we got to raise $20, $30, $40 million to keep up with the Joneses and the Oregons and Ohio States? That's going to be a big question.
Even the type of player. Like that, there's a different mindset of players today, and you have to be a little bit more delicate because if you're too hard on them, what do? They hit the portal. They're gone. And I think Mike Gundy's more of an old school coach. Even last year, right before the season started, he said, all right, I asked my guys, hey, this is our team right now. I don't want you guys talking or taking offers from anybody else. I think you saw him kind of struggling with that and getting his best players poached from his roster to go somewhere else. So I think that evolution, if he evolves with today's player, I think he'll be fine. But it clearly looks to be a struggle as their talent, as it dropped off a little bit on skill level.
Well, to his credit, he seems like he recognizes that problem, brought in a lot of new staffers, specifically said he went to the SEC to bring in some talent to help with that recruiting. So it's not like Gundy's given up quite yet in this new age of college football. What are your expectations for this game, though, in Eugene today?
I mean, the point spread speaks volumes. It's 4 touchdowns for a reason. Oregon is a national championship contender, and Oklahoma State's looking to return to a bowl. Their win total coming into the season was 4.5, and this will probably be one of Mike Gundy's biggest challenges this season is keeping his team together, making sure that if this game does get out of hand, how do they respond after a tough loss like that? But one area that he's really struggled with in recent years, and it's a direct correlation to why they've struggled, is at quarterback. They've always, you look at Mike Gundy, he's been a great quarterback whisperer. He's given them a really good run game, but they just have not hit on quarterback. A couple years ago, they were shuttling in like a line change. They were playing one quarterback one quarter, another a second. He's been desperately searching for answers. And again, with Hosseini already missing game, now he's going to Zane Flores. It just looks to be sort of a revolving door, and they just can't find the guy to be the difference maker for Oklahoma State. So I think if Oklahoma State gets to a bowl this season, I think it's a step in the right direction. You kind of stable things, because if he doesn't, there was already some rumblings from even his own fan base saying, hey, maybe it's time to retire. You don't want to see it get ugly because he's such a legend there. But I think he really needs to get to a bowl game to alleviate some of that pressure.
You're looking big picture at the bowl game. This isn't even a conference game, but how do you make sure that if the point spread is accurate today, that this doesn't derail the rest of this season?
It's just getting guys to understand the moment and getting them to buy in that, yeah, we're playing Oregon, who's a top team in the country, but we still got to put on our pants and shoes the same way they do, so let's go out and play like it. And then what are you fighting for? You're fighting for pride, one, and then you're fighting for an opportunity to knock off one of the top teams in the country. And I think when you get your guys to buy in and understand that, you'll get a pretty good result. Well, not to say that you're going to win this football game, but you're going to get guys fighting, and it's not going to be a blowout if you can get them to mentally understand the moment.
He's no BMAC, but Gundy's a pretty good motivator, right?
and what I was going to say, you talked about getting guys to buy in. We've all, at one point in time, been in locker rooms where our coaches were great motivators. Mm-hmm. They would make you believe you can run through a wall. But hearing the statements for Coach Gundy talking about the NIL benefits that Oregon has that they don't have, I don't know if he's been instilling the belief. Because as a player, if I was in that locker room and I'm an upperclassman, I don't want to hear that, coach. It's almost like you're trying to make excuses for if we do get blown out of the water. Well, they already have all the NIL money. No. So you talked about getting them to buy in. I don't know if that was his mindset, because if I'm a coach and I know I'm going against a Goliath of a team, I'm telling my guys, first and foremost, no one is expecting you to win, so you should be relaxed. There's no pressure. All the pressure's on them to do what everyone's saying they should do. Play comfortable and play free. Don't go out and complain about, well, they got $40 million of NIL money and they doing this and they doing that. And you're making excuses, and now you're telling me you don't believe in us. So I don't know if the belief is there based on some of the things we've heard from Coach Gundy this week getting ready for this game.
Is there any chance this is a massive Jedi mind trick and he's trying to make Oregon think that they're that much better? Because if I'm a coach in the locker room, I'm telling my players, hey, don't listen to what I'm telling them.
Bobby used to do that.
Exactly.
Yep.
He'd pump up the other team, make it sound like you didn't have any chance.
Shot.
And you can roll with that big chip on the shoulder saying, yeah, those guys are getting paid a lot more. Do you think they're that much better than you?
Yeah.
You should be earning that much. You can go prove to them that you're just as good as they are. Maybe you'll earn that money somewhere else next year. But somehow you've got to work some master manipulation because the talent gap is there. But we've seen him knock off a lot of teams as an unranked team. Maybe he can do it. I don't give him much chance, but it would be a huge, huge step in the right direction. If this game's close in the fourth quarter, I think you have to feel pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it feels a little bit like that David and Goliath kind of mindset there. FanDuel is sponsoring our lovely show right now, so every week they're giving you a 50% profit boost on the biggest college football showdown. That means you can boost your winnings by 50% on the biggest matchup. Download the FanDuel app and bet the big match on campus with a boost. You can do that scanning that QR code right now. Let's go to Mackenzie and Mikey. Guys, you got a parlay for us?
Oh, yeah. We've been chefing something up here. We know we were tasked with a nice little 4-leg parlay, and I think we feel pretty good about it. Don't we feel pretty good?
I mean, I feel good about our parlay. I feel good about a college football Saturday. There's nothing that gets me more juiced than putting those two together.
Yes, correct. We got a nice 4 legs. I'm going to start us off.
4 of them.
Oklahoma money line. Now, you know I'm big on John Mateer. I do think Michigan covers this game, but give me the Oklahoma money line. Mikey, let us go for the next.
I mean, Brent Venables against freshman quarterbacks, 21-5. We move points in Dallas. Points are fun. We like to have fun. Give me points.
Then we're going to go to the Old Faithful. If Ole Miss does not cover this spread today, I have basically kicked myself in every single situation this entire week. All I've done is give out Ole Miss spread, Ole Miss team total. I do not see a version of the story where they do not cover the spread in this revenge game.
Would be the opposite of a good day.
Yes, that would be really bad.
And then I know what you're thinking. You're looking at that last night and you're going, hold up, what is that? And listen, sometimes you just need a little piece in the parlay where you go, I'm going to click that button because I just want a 4th leg.
And I just know it's going to be a green check mark.
And unfortunately, that USC money line is minus 7,000.
And are we worried about that? No, because we still give you a nice plus 355. Sometimes you just need that 4th leg for kicks, okay?
Yeah, it's just a quick click. It's a quick click.
I love it. Thank you guys. Every
I'm putting
week.
it in now. I got my parlay
He's
in
got
right
his
now.
phone out. He's ready. Hey, Danny, reminder, FanDuel's giving you a 50% profit boost on the biggest college football game, so download that FanDuel app. We are getting very close to kickoff, just an hour until we finally have some games here on this college football Saturday. I hear we have a very special guest joining us. Stick with us.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, mother...
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. All episodes now streaming of the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's a massive clash at City. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that touchdown.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
We are an hour away from kickoff. That's Drew Aller and the Nittany Lions getting ready to play in a game in which they're another 40-point-plus favorite. Danny, what do you think of this early season slate?
I hate it. I do. I mean, as a college football fan, I want to see the best on the best. And I get everybody has cupcakes, but to have them stacked up 3 in a row to start the season, we're not going to get to see them play till September 27th against Oregon.
Yeah, so Nittany Lions fans, if you're watching our show wondering why are we not talking about you, just give it some time. We'll talk about them when they're in a big game. Speaking of big games, how about that one? Michigan and Oklahoma. Another Saturday kicking off soon. The tailgates are rocking. You see players warming up, and we are warming up here on this show by bringing in our good friend, AJ McCarron. AJ, you just can't quit us here on Saturdays. We're excited to have you back, and we got to ask about this big game because once upon a time, you were a big-name freshman going into some of these crazy road environments. What's your advice for a young Bryce Underwood?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for any young quarterback going into a hostile, atmosphere is taking care of the football. I said this last time on the show, and I try to say it to every young quarterback, but Jim McElwain used to teach me my first year starting at Bama was touchdowns, checkdowns, but if every possession ends on a kick, you at least give your team an opportunity to win. So whether it's a field goal or a punt, it doesn't matter. Just take care of the football and make sure your team has a chance to win in the end.
Speaking of tough road environments, Arizona State is going to be hearing some cowbells when they take on Mississippi State. We've kind of been joking all week about the sad excuse for cowbells that Kenny Dillingham had at practice. To his credit, he did say he ordered 75, but AJ, you know, there's going to be 75,000 of those things. Their ears are going to be ringing. You've been to Starkville at night. How truly loud is that environment?
It's one of the most underrated atmospheres in all of college football. And they were never really dominant during my time there, but they were always just a gritty group of guys. And when they have confidence and when that place is believing, and listen, Coach Levy's done an unbelievable job. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. It's hard to recruit to Starkville. It's just, that's the honest truth. But he's a hard-nosed guy. And I really like their chances today. That atmosphere is going to be loud. I think it's going to be something that Arizona State's not used to playing in. And if they get those cowbells, rolling over there, it's going to be a tough game for Arizona State.
A lot of people putting the Sun Devils on upset alert this week. Let's go to Oklahoma State and Oregon. We've talked about this game a lot. The massive point spread. What's going to happen in this one? The kind of back and forth between coaching this week. I want to ask you specifically about what they were talking about, though, and that's the discrepancies between NIL. How real is that in this day and age of college football in 2025?
Well, it's massive. A lot of people don't realize a lot of these schools front-loaded their rosters this past offseason before the rev share took effect on July 1st. So I think a lot of these teams where, I've had fans all week, well, how does this team look so much better than they did last year, a la LSU? How all of a sudden do they have a defense? It's because of that. They went out in the portal and went ahead and spent a ton of money in the portal in the offseason before July 1st and rev share took effect. So I think that's where you're going to see the biggest jump. But rev share as a whole now is going to be pretty much an even playing field. I just think from a NIL standpoint and jumping into the portal hard this offseason before those rules took effect, that's where you're going to see the biggest jump for teams that actually have a bunch of backing and spin it, or teams that might have a bunch of backing but held off from spending so much. So I think this is a big-time win and dominating performance by Oregon today.
That's why we call it big time, AJ. Already on board with us here at CBS Sports. AJ, we love your college football analysis, but we had to bring you on to talk about some of the comments that you made this week as it pertains to your Alabama Crimson Tide. And we're talking about this NIL situation. You said they have less than $20 million in NIL when other programs are spending upwards of $40 to $50 million. That feels like a big gap between Alabama, which we typically look at them as one of the haves, not the have-nots. Can you kind of circle back on that for us and what you meant when you said that?
Yeah, so the reporter kind of took it a snippet. It was a conversation that was probably a 5 to 10 minute conversation. The point behind the whole deal was, I think, again, what I just said, you see a difference on teams that really went hard into the portal and spent a ton of money. Alabama didn't get a ton of guys as much as some of these other schools did. Florida State, 50 new guys. UNC, 70 new players on their team. So they didn't lose a lot to the portal, and they didn't go get a ton of guys in the portal as well, which isn't a bad thing. But I also got called, I'm not going to say, but at the very top of Alabama, and he called, and we talked, and he said, hey, we just kept it under wraps, but we have more than $20 million, which is good. I mean, that's the person I wanted to hear from, because other 2-3 people I heard from told me this. So it's good to know that they, are up above 20 million now after hearing, other things. But my biggest thing is it doesn't matter. We got to go out and win. And to have that performance like you did against Florida State is just, it's not playing to the standard that Alabama has set for quite some time now.
AJ, everybody's dissected all the various issues that were going on that game. You had loafs, you were out physical against Florida State. Like there was issue. Ryan Williams didn't play up to the expectations. He's now out for today's game. Overall, we did a panic meter segment, and I was kind of like, I still think they'll be okay. Like I think they could be fine. What are your expectations moving forward now this season? Is it salvageable? Are they still a team that can contend for the playoffs? Or are there such serious concerns that you're kind of having doubts of what they could be at the end of the season?
I think it's a little bit of both, Danny. To be honest with you, listen, this team has a ton of talent, right? They've got guys that all the other schools wanted as well. It's not like they have a lack of talent on this team. It's the guys playing to a standard that is the Bama way, playing with effort, playing with pride. I'm sure BMAC, everybody on the panel has played some sport for a coach that they might not like. And I'm not saying these guys don't like Dbor at all. I'm just saying when you get inside the white lines, you play for the name on the back of your jersey, you play for your school, you play for your brothers, the guys inside the white lines that go to fight with you every day, blood, sweat, and tears. And that's the thing that probably upset myself and Alabama fans as a whole was just the pride factor that you saw with the lack of effort, guys laughing. There's a video of guys laughing at the end when Florida State's taking a knee. So it's that side of things to where I'm from the state of Alabama. I just know what an Alabama win and means on a Saturday for the community and the people in this state. So that's the biggest thing with me is it doesn't matter who you're playing week in and week out. They're a faceless opponent. Get back to playing your style of ball, played with the tenacity and ferociousness that you're supposed to play with, and go out and execute.
Coaching and parenting are identical. As a parent, your children will only do what you allow them to do. And that's the same thing with coaching. Players will only do what you allow them to do as a coach. When Nick Saban was there, he did not allow any of the foolishness that we're talking about. Loafs, effort, lack thereof, being physical. And not to mention the things that we're not seeing or hearing about, but of course rumors are circulating that happen in the meeting rooms, in the building, in the facility. These things transition to losses or a lack of effort. So right now when you talk about the talent, AJ, no question, you can never question, does Alabama have talent? They got talent, but now that talent is not as disciplined as they was in years past because of the coaching, the things that have been tolerated. So for them to get back to being that dominant program, a team that has been overly consistent, it starts from the top. Because it's not like Alabama, they don't have no quarterback, they ain't got no running back, they ain't got no O-lineman, they ain't got no DBs. They got all of it. But it's just about the structure, the lack thereof, that has put Alabama into these difficult conversations, a place they haven't been in quite some time.
Well, B-Mac, and that's why, I think it's such an easy time we're in this era of football to where, it's kind of different from the past where coaches get a ton of blame. I think it's easy to blame the coaches, but it kind of goes back to what I just said with, we've all played for coaches that allow certain things, but you as a player, Danny, like myself, just everybody that's played the game at a high level, when you get inside those white lines, you're playing for the dude next to you, right? Like you're not playing for the guy on the sidelines, and it's not like we're getting – when I watch film, and I went back and watched this Alabama game probably 5-6 times, my thing is we're not getting crazy like we're out-schemed, and dudes are just wide open, and we look like we have no clue what to do. I mean, you look at the first possession by Florida State, and Castellanos has the keeper. We play it perfect. Like, it wasn't a scheme issue. We crashed the DN for the running back. Deontay Lawson's supposed to wrap, and play the scrape side of it, and he didn't. He took 2 steps in, and then he loafed running out to get Castellanos. So that's my issue is, I understand. And listen, I do think this team takes a little bit of Coach Dbor's demeanor, right? He's a calm, relaxed, laid-back guy. But at the same time, my issue is when you get inside the white lines, go play for the dude next to you. Go play for every guy that has worn the crimson jersey before you, that has set a standard, and for Alabama, what Alabama fans expect to see on Saturday. That's my biggest issue, because these dudes are getting paid a ton of money now to go perform. And everybody on this panel knows in the pros, and it's the difference from college, when you don't perform in the pros, what happens to you? You get cut. And my biggest issue is there's no fear of the bench for this team. It's not a fear of coach. Like when we were playing, we had a fear of being put on the bench because we knew Coach Saban wasn't going to play it, and he'd just put the next guy up. And right now it looks like nobody has that fear. They just, I can do whatever I want because I'm going to keep playing. So.
AJ, we had a ton of quarterbacks last week that were massive expectation. We talked in the pregame last week, and some of them fell short of those expectations. And now they're receiving a lot of criticism. I'm talking about Ty Simpson, Arch Manning, some of these premier programs where that crucible is about as hot as it's ever going to get right now. What would you tell to some of those quarterbacks that need big bounce-back games, that need to kind of erase that performance from last week? What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, my biggest thing is don't pay attention to social media. As much as I hate to say it because I'm on this side of it now, but don't pay attention to myself and Danny and everybody else that's talking, all the talking heads. Go out and put your head down and go to work. Listen, for Arch, and we talked about this, Danny, being quarterbacks, but I felt like the expectations that the media had set on this kid, I mean, him being the Heisman favorite and not really starting a season yet was just something that's impossible to reach, right? So, and then, for guys like Ty and other quarterbacks, listen, you're at Alabama, it's the head coach of Alabama and then the quarterback. You're more than the governor himself or herself right now. So you're going to be criticized. I told this story earlier in the week. We lost the game of the century, so-called, to LSU 9-6. I was taking a girl out to eat the following Tuesday at Wenzel's, and this family of 4 was walking out, and they had a kid that was probably a boy that was probably 16, 17 years old looking, and he was giving me an absolute death stare. and when I come out from eating and we're walking to the car, I had a piece of notebook paper that was the largest piece of notebook paper I've ever seen in my entire life. And it was filled from top to bottom. And it was how bad I am. I should never play football again, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what happens at Alabama. Right? That's the expectations that they have on you as a team and as a quarterback. Kind of balled it up and hopefully threw it in that kid's face at that time because we went on to win the national championship that year. But just put your head down, go to work, and go out and play each Saturday like you're supposed to.
I love it. I mean, it is just
the best part
different
about that
in
story
college football.
is when they had the rematch, and I love the play calling in that national championship game because they came out throwing. A lot of people thought they were going to be running the football. A lot of play action, put the ball in AJ's hands. He connected early, and then it was off to the races after that one.
Love it. AJ, thank you so much for being on the show. It's just not the same without you. Miss you too. Thank you so much for being here. I want to circle back. We talk about these expectations for quarterbacks, and although John Mateer in this matchup with Michigan and Oklahoma maybe isn't the big name guy, I don't know about you guys. All offseason we were talking about John Mateer. Right. He was the difference maker in the transfer portal. He was the big-time quarterback coming into the SEC and was going to shake some things up, save Brent Venables' jobs, all of these things. So what are the expectations for John Mateer in this matchup?
Obviously, he's going to go out and have a big game. I'm not saying that's the expectation. That's what I think, and I know that's going to happen with John Mateer. He's been a dominant quarterback in college football. We've watched him at other places go out and be successful. Like you just mentioned, he was the #1 target in terms of transfer quarterbacks. I mean, he is a difference maker, and I think he'll be that today versus the University of Michigan. I just don't believe that Michigan has enough on the defensive side, especially in the secondary, to slow him down. They lost so much on the defensive front that they can't rush the passer very well. And then on the flip side of that, we talk about the young quarterback in Bryce Underwood. I don't think he has enough right now in terms of playmakers on the outside edge. Last week, Marlon Klein was his top target. That was his tight end. So he had nobody to stretch the field on a consistent basis. But John Mateer, he's going to get it done in this football game. He's going to light it up. Like I said, I keep saying he's going to be the premier guy in college football when we're talking about the top quarterbacks in the country.
I love that they paired him with his offensive coordinator,
Yes.
Ben Arbuckle, so you're familiar with the system. The only thing I'll say is I think his patience is going to get tested. I think Michigan, Wink Martindale is a really good defensive mind.
Yes, he is.
NFL background.
Yes, yeah.
I think they're going to make them one-dimensional because if they couldn't run it last week against a much inferior opponent, good luck trying to run it against Michigan. So I think this will be one where Mateer, who is a guy who puts up big numbers. Last week he put up big numbers. I think he's got to be very careful that he picks his spots to take those big shots down the field. You don't want to try to force the action if it's not there to be had. So I think it's just something to keep an eye on for this one, Mateer. It's his biggest game that he's played in as a college football player. I think he'll be fine, but I don't think it's going to be easy out there.
Yeah, I love that. Being patient because the hype that is going into this ball game associated with John is deserving, but don't try to force things that are not there. Key point, Wink Martindale. He's coached a lot of defensive ball at his highest level, and he's been overly successful. And things that I love about NFL coaches, when they go down a level to college ball, they usually dominate. We just saw that with Matt Patricia and the game plan he had in place for Arch Manning. So I expect for Wink Martindale to really go into his bag, present some challenges for John, but he has to be patient and, of course, become a +1 in the running game. Because to your point, they couldn't run the football. He will be called to run the football, either QB design running plays or just improvising because they need that because that offensive line, they're going through some growing pains right now still, and I think they could have some issues against the front running the football against Michigan.
And John Mateer loves to run the football, too. I covered a Wazoo game last year. His white jersey was green. By the end of it, he absolutely loves that contact. Speaking of quarterbacks, maybe a sneaky good QB matchup happening in Durham this afternoon. Luke Altmaier versus Darian Mensah. Who has the edge when the 11th ranked Illini take on Duke? And the Sihawk Trophy is on the line in Ames. The two winningest coaches at their respective school histories are well aware this is the biggest game of their season.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise,
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy, All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway in this massive clash at City On. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And that's surely the score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's taunt skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Back here on College Football Pregame on CBS Sports HQ, about half an hour until the noon slate kicks off in college football. We are rocking here with Danny Cannell, Beanie Wells, BMAC. I am Emily Proud. Let's start off by talking about that Sihawk trophy. We know there's always a lot on the line. When Iowa and Iowa State square off, what are you keeping an eye on in this game, Beanie?
You know, I'm going to be interested to see how Tim Lester orchestrates some offense in this football game for Iowa. Last week they had 48 passing yards. That is atrocious. You're not going to win many games if you're only throwing for 48 passing yards. While they did run for 310 yards, I don't know that that's going to be able to be the case versus the Cyclones because they do have a tough defense. And on the flip side, they got a great quarterback in Rocco Beck that can put the ball in the air and put up big numbers. So I'm anxious to see this football game on both sides of the quarterback perspectives.
Yeah, and that's the issue for me because we thought with, getting a new transfer for Iowa, the offense would be more updated in terms of the passing game. And Danny, you said something early in the show. Maybe they were just trying to show the bare minimum, right, as they get ready for this rivalry against Iowa State. And that's what I'm hoping. So that's what I'm hoping to see because to your point, throwing for under 50 yards in a four-quarter game in college football, you have a 7U quarterback right now playing in a 7U game that can throw for more than 50 yards in a game. So hopefully Iowa can get things going because they would need to be able to do so in the passing game to try to upset Iowa State.
I guarantee you right here he'll have more than 44 yards passing.
Okay, you heard it here.
They did lose one of their receivers like the week of the game a little bit. Reese Vander Zee was out for that one. I'll take a look at the other quarterback because Rocco Becht, I think, is one of the more underappreciated, underrated quarterbacks in all of college football. I didn't see him show up on anybody's top 10 quarterbacks coming into the season. We all look at guys that are 6'5", 230, and that can run around and make every play. He's already 2-0. He's already 1-0 in conference with a big win in Dublin over Kansas State. And one of the things I loved about that game itself, there were a couple huge third and fourth down conversions. And Matt Campbell trusted Rocco Becht at the line of scrimmage, gave him a lot of two-way calls, check with me's, and in all of them, Rocco Becht got in the best play and then converted on him. So I think he's somebody who you can really trust as a leader in this one, who's had a lot of playing experience. I think Rocco Becht's another guy to look out for in this game.
I'm about to blow your minds here because the Sihawk gets all the attention. This is the 72nd edition. Wow. We have the 76th edition of SMU facing Baylor. This is a sneaky rivalry here. Yeah. So what's on the line in this game? I mean, some state pride for sure.
From state pride for sure. For Dave Aranda, his future might be on the line because he's already 0-1, and they had the loss against Auburn where it wasn't as close as I think even the odds makers would think. And then even more importantly, Dave Aranda this offseason said, I'm taking control of the defense. I'm going to be the defensive play caller. And they didn't struggle on the offensive side of the ball. They got a dude, it's Sawyer Robertson, but they gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards to Jackson Arnold. So I think this is sort of a must-win type of game for Dave Aranda. If they start off 0-2 and it's to an in-state, rival that they look down on, SMU historically, and SMU just made the playoffs, I think it's a really, really tricky spot for Dave Aranda if they don't win this game.
And to your point about Dave Aranda, remember he became the head coach at Baylor because of his defensive mindset when he was at LSU. So now taking over that side, and that has become the Achilles heel for your team is not a good sign. I do believe they will score points, guys. They're going to score points against SMU. It's about getting the necessary timely stops for them to be able to win this ball game and come up with a huge upset because being 0-2 against an unknown Auburn team and then losing to SMU is not a great way to start.
I'm with you. I think we see a shootout. I'm on the over in this game. Ooh. I think you see this little bit of a track meet back. Both quarterbacks are really good. Kevin Jennings can run the ball a little bit. They can make big plays. Brett Lashley is a great offensive mind. Sawyer Robertson threw for almost 400 yards against Auburn. I think he's going to have a day. I think it's going to be a fun game.
Look, I think you guys are talking yourselves into it. Baylor's going to lose this football game. There's going to be too much high-octane offense from Kevin Jennings and Romello Brinson. They're going to put up big numbers here. They're going to torch that secondary.
I got to highlight this SMU defense. too. They had 2 pick sixes last week against East Texas A&M. More points for that over. Another great game kicking off at noon. We have 11th ranked Illinois at Duke. As I said, Illinois is the ranked team, but I mean, who has the edge in this one?
Oh, man, this is tough right here because I love Luke Altmaier. I love Brett Bielema and everything that he does on the defensive side of the ball, getting his team in position and ready to play. But Darian Mensah is going to be too much. I got Duke upsetting Illinois in this football game.
Wow.
This is going to be one of those games to where Darian Mensah pits himself on the national stage and makes himself a national presence in college football.
Man, I love it. I love it. I just don't believe it, though.
Oh, okay.
I trust Luke more so than Darius because of the chemistry he has already established. I think the biggest question mark for Illinois coming into this season was replacing wide receiver production. Well, when you have an experienced quarterback, that's not that big of a concern because his ability to get the football to the open guy, not to mention running the football, and I do believe that defense will have something in play for Mensah also. So I like where you're going, but I think this could be a tight ball game, but I believe Illinois will find a way to scrap out a win.
I think this game's going to be fun. This is not the Duke that you and I played against, B-Mac. Like, this is a different program. Manny Diaz has built this up to a spot. They beat Clemson a couple years ago in week 1, and they stormed the field after. They had Notre Dame on the ropes. They were a 9-win team last year. And with the 9-win team, they had a quarterback, Malik Murphy, who had a pretty good year, and they were like, no, we think we can get better. Like, that speaks volumes about the expectations of this Duke program. I think this game is going to come down to the wire. The one big concern for me is physically. Brett Bielema is going to want to run the football and try to lean. Think Big Ten, powerful team coming in there. I think they want to run the football. And the good news is it did feel like a clear-cut receiver emerged for Illinois and Hank Beatty, who went over 100 yards last week in their opener. And I do trust Luke Altmaier. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. I think this is going to be a clean game that comes down to the fourth quarter, and it could be a field goal type game, just like the odds makers think.
I have to mention, Illinois has lost 9 of their past 10 non-conference road games.
Don't tell Tom Fornelli that. Don't tell Tom Fornelli that.
I know he's sweating.
He's been texting us pictures. I guess there's more tailgaters with the orange than you're seeing the blue.
Oh, okay. Maybe make the trip to Durham. Hey, the head coach of UNLV is joining us on the other side. Dan Mullen, you heard of him? I'm sure you have. He'll be with us next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago. Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway, and there's some massive clash at City High. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely this will end on.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With the plays you missed.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And analysis to give you an edge.
Tony Romo joins the conversation.
I was shaking in my boots.
The Big Ten, home to the defending national champions.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7. CBS Sports HQ hits every highlight from all the sports that matter to you.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
And analysis to give you an edge.
Big news coming out of the NFL.
I was shaking in my boots.
CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
When you said you wanted a little getaway, this is not what I imagined.
We like to make up our own rules.
NCIS Tony and Ziva, streaming September 4th on Paramount Plus.
On CBS Sports Network at 8 Eastern, our friend Jordan Giorgio will be on the sidelines for UCLA at UNLV. The Rebels already 2-0 on the season. UCLA still looking for its first win. A great start in Vegas for new head coach Dan Mullen. He's going to join this program here in just a little bit, and we are so excited to talk to him because, like I said, man, this is a fantastic start out in Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, a huge game against UCLA, and here he is. Dan Mullen has joined the show. Coach, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be with you guys this morning. It's an exciting day. We're ready for some great West Coast football. Keep everybody entertained all night long.
We are certainly ready for it as well. And you're joking a little bit before you came on. You miss being in our shoes. You were in our shoes for 3 years, and a little bit has changed in the sport since you were last a head coach. So what has been the biggest transition, maybe toughest transition of getting back into it on this side?
Yeah, I don't know toughest. I know you guys have a much longer day today than I do, right? I mean, you're there from beginning to end waiting for us to play that late night game. We get to relax, walk through, prepare all day. But I think the biggest thing, just, you know, how college football, the makeup of college football, when you're looking at the transfer portal, when you look at NIL, the unique things, it becomes your team as a head coach day one. I think the first year after I left is really when that started, right? Where when you take over a program, the number of transfers that come in because of the portal, a lot of times you just inherit a lot of players trying to change the culture of a program. Really, day one, that's you, and that's the responsibility you have as a head coach, and that's what we've taken on. I think, you know, I learned last week we had the least number of returning starters of any team in all of college football, but that's okay. We still view that we're a good football team, and we got to go find ways to win. We put a roster together. Guys are working hard, and we got to find a way to go compete for a championship.
Coach, I remember talking to you, and you said one of the things that if you got back in, you were going to enjoy it more, right? I mean, there's so much, you know, heat and pressure being in the SEC. And all I kept thinking in that first game, as it was opener, it was a little bit ugly. I'm like, man, I hope he's still enjoying himself out there. But have you been able to enjoy yourself more now that you kind of had a different perspective and been out for a little bit?
I've tried. I'm certainly trying. As you said, it middle of the third quarter against Idaho State, and I'm watching their quarterback, who we knew going in was a great player, make throw after throw. I'm like, you don't see guys on Sunday making these throws. I reminded myself, I'm like, okay, relax, take a deep breath. You're here to enjoy it and enjoy being around the guys, enjoy coaching. And it worked out. We came back, we found a way to win that one. You know, the big win last week against Sam Houston. You know what's been fun in how the games have gone out is for us is it allows us to coach and teach an awful lot. You know, if everything just would have gone great the first two games, you know, I think our guys would have said, hey, we got the answers. In our first two games not going the right way, we've really enjoyed it. Winning, but it's allowed us to coach and teach little errors that we needed to get fixed. And the guys, it's really obvious things to them. And the attention to detail, we're much more attention to detail last week than we were in week 1, and we need to take that same huge step this week against UCLA.
Hey, Coach, your senior defensive back, Amaris Brown, who's off to a hot start, by the way, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks. He had some choice words about Nico in terms of what he's watched from him on film, stating he doesn't do anything that sticks out. Did you have anything to say in terms of what Amaris said about Nico?
I think they were asking him, like, he was a 5-star player. What sticks out about him? You have to go against a 5-star player. And I think Amaris said, he's played during his career. He's a 5th-year senior. During his career, Kansas State at South Florida. They've played Alabama. They've played Tennessee. They've played all these teams with 5-star quarterbacks. And so I think his thought was, watching him, he's an excellent player, but there's nothing that sticks out more to him than all the other 5-star guys I've played throughout my career.
Coach, do you like that type of conversation coming from your star defensive back before a game?
Yeah, I like honesty. I mean, I think that's a big deal. When you look at it, when you look at Nico, we think he's a really, really talented player. I don't know. I don't have the list of everybody that he's gone against throughout his career, but when you look at it, and I look at all of our guys, and it's the one unique thing with the transfer portal is, they're going to sit there and say, hey, we've gone against great players from other schools. I've gone against national championship quarterbacks. I've gone against Heisman Trophy winners, different guys at different stages of their career. When you go through our secondary of, guys that have transferred from the Big Ten, guys that have transferred from the SEC, they've gone against great players week in and week out throughout their career. So I think that's one thing that does get different in today's world. A lot of times when you look and say, hey, okay, guys that have been at UNLV and you played a lot of Mountain West players and you're playing against a major opponent, twice, hopefully a couple times a year. I'm trying to schedule up and play anybody that'll play us. But now with the transfer portal era, when you have guys coming in, I mean, he goes against Alex Orji, who won a national championship at Michigan every day of practice. He goes against Anthony Calandra, passed for thousands of yards in the ACC every day of practice. So, I think when you're looking at a guy that was a starter at Tennessee last year, he said he's probably really similar to those guys that have won championships and have played at all the major colleges.
Coach, I know at the start of the year it was a quarterback competition between Alex Orji, a guy that you just mentioned, and Anthony Calandra. And now we've seen Anthony kind of settle in that spot. How impressed have you been with Anthony and his decision-making? Because he seems to make the right decisions at the right time for your team.
Well, he's done a really good job of that. I think that was the biggest one coming in is I knew he was really talented. But, we got to coach him up into doing the simple things well, to be boring out there on the field. He wants to be electric, and he can, with his legs, his ability to extend plays, to run, he can be really electric. But what we really want from him is to be boring out there in the field, do the simple things well. And he's really done that. The last game, I thought, exceptionally. You're going to see both quarterbacks in the game tonight because Alex brings something so different to the table with his athleticism and his size. Anthony was speed, Alex was size and physicality. And can still throw the ball really well. So I think they're a great combination out there that we can give us a lot of another kind of group of weapons to use besides running back and receiver, to have those quarterbacks come at you with different ways. And, both of them being experienced veteran guys, they're there, they want to win, they know how to win. And it kind of makes it fun for me to coach those type of guys.
Yeah, we love having coaches on the show, and I gotta call out my guy BMAC next to me because, Coach, earlier in the show we had Lance Leipold on. BMAC waited until he was gone to then pick Missouri to win the game today, so I'm gonna have him
pick whoever you want.
Stare him in the face and pick this game, BMAC.
Hey, Coach, you know how I go. It can go either direction, all right? And I did take Missouri because Missouri is playing at home. This is a rivalry renewed. They're playing at home. I think the atmosphere will be electric. You said something that was early on in our interview with you. You had the least amount of returning starters in college football. The job you've already done being 2-0 has been very, very impressive. But I'm taking UCLA, Coach, and the reason why is because this is a desperation game for them. They have to win this ball game, and they might come out and throw the kitchen sink, the dog, the cat, and everything at you guys because they need to. This is a very, very important game for you guys as well, being Group of 5 when you look at the unknowns in the Group of 5 play. But I think for UCLA, they cannot afford to be 0-2 and losing one of those games to the fashion in which they lost to Utah, and then going on the road in Vegas and not hitting blackjack and losing also won't be a good scenario.
Coach, you need more motivation? How's that for you?
I just gave you something.
I love it. That's good. What's Beanie and Danny going up? You got me here.
Exactly. Throw it up there. I'll give you mine, Coach. I like you guys. I think confidence is an amazing thing. I know you bring instilled a lot of confidence in that squad already. You've already got 2 wins under your belt, and I think Nico specifically and that UCLA team is searching for confidence right now. So I like you guys to pull off the upset.
Coach, I love you guys as well to pull off the upset. I got you winning this. I love the wide receiver play in Jaden Bradley. I think he's done a phenomenal job. It's only gotten so much better. What you got to say, Dbor?
But, Coach, they keep saying they like you to upset UCLA. It's not an upset if you win. The line is only a point and a half.
No, we wouldn't view this as an upset. I think, you know, one of the hardest things for everybody in college football is they're still learning their teams, right? And you know, we're learning our identity. And I think UCLA's learning their identity. And everybody's kind of finding out what they do well. It's so tough early in the season. And it's so hard to figure so many things out. You know, I certainly hope we come out there, play really well today. But as you said, you know, I mean, UCLA, there's a pretty small sample size on what they've done. They've got a lot of talent on their football team. Going to be a huge challenge for us. And especially early in the year, that such little things could make a difference. You know, it's going to be, I think it'll be a pretty exciting game.
Coach, thank you so much for humoring us.
I'm going to go with UNLV.
Oh, there we go. Okay. We wanted to make you feel more at home by making game picks.
I had to make the prediction.
There we go.
I'll put my prediction.
Yes, we'll add Coach to the graphic there. Dan Mullen, thank you so much. Good luck, and we are looking forward to watching this game on CBS Sports Network. UCLA at UNLV. That is tonight at 8 Eastern on CBS Sports Net.
Hey, I love that.
I love it. We are getting closer to kickoff of some of those noon games. We've got game picks. What happens with Lane Kiffin and the Rebels? Speaking of Rebels, coming up next.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No. That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I have sway in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise,
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago.
Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. All episodes now streaming on the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway in this massive clash at City High.
Superb finish.
Oh, that's it!
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that tornado!
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's tongue skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Every week, FanDuel's giving you 50% profit boost on the biggest college football showdown. That means you can boost your winnings by 50% on the biggest matchup. Download the FanDuel app and bet the big match on campus with a boost. You can do that right now. I'll give you a QR code. Time now for our parlay pick presented by FanDuel, and I'm not sure whose decision it was to let me in on the action, but I'm going to start us off here. I like Ole Miss minus 8.5 on the road at Kentucky. Why I like them? Because Lane Kiffin is feeling a little bit of that revenge factor. We know he loves to run up the score. Poor Georgia State was the recipients of that last week, 56 points. I like them to come back and to get some revenge from what happened last year at Ole Miss. B-Mac?
Well, for me, I'm going to Gainesville. In-state matchup, South Florida. South Florida's getting 17 in the hook. I like South Florida to cover the 17 in the hook, and here's why. When you talk about DJ Lagway, he gets all the praise. He's receiving all the attention in this ball game. But South Florida has a very, very unique quarterback as well in Byron Brown. He's like the Lenore Sellers for their offense, a physical runner of the football, also can throw. They're playing with a lot of confidence based on what they did a week ago, upsetting Boise at home, a very, very opportunistic defense. I just need a few stops here or there to cover this 17 in the hook. I believe they will get that job done and potentially a backdoor cover. I can care less as long as they cover the 17.5. Give me the Bulls.
All right. I don't hate that play. I'm going to keep it simple here, going with SMU money line. Give me the ponies. I think that we are underrating this team. Kevin Jennings at home was beating everybody by over double digits last season. This game is not being played in Happy Valley in January. That is important information to note here. And Baylor had a hard time on the road, on the ground. I think they'll have a similar situation here with SMU.
I'm taking Oklahoma minus 5.5 versus the University of Michigan. I love John Mateer. I've been talking about him on this show so much. He got a lot of firepower out there on the edge with his receivers and Burks and Kentez Lewis. They're going to put up high numbers. They win this game.
Hey, Beanie, what school did you go to?
You already know. That may have something to do with it.
It all comes something to do with it.
A little bit of something to do with it.
By the way, I'm not texting anybody. I'm putting in our parlay.
Okay. Smart man.
Smart man. I will say Beanies makes me a little bit nervous with that 5.5. But I'm going to go with the same game that Mackenzie went to. I think this is going to be a track meet. We mentioned it earlier in the show. I think you're going to see both these teams going up and down the field. I'm going to go over the total of 63.5. I think you're going to see a shootout here out at SMU.
Well, sorry in advance, guys. This is what we picked. Ole Miss minus 8.5.
You like yours? Yeah, me too.
I mean, that line was like 10.5 a couple days ago.
SMU Baylor over too in our parlay.
I like it. Okay, so we are all over that SMU Baylor game. Money line over. Where are you going to bet it right now, Danny? FanDuel. They're giving you 50% profit boost on the biggest college football showdown. That means you can boost your winnings by 50% on the biggest matchup. Scan that QR code, get that boost, and have yourself a Saturday. We're getting closer to kick.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
Thanks for playing along.
Hard Rock's line sucks.
They don't know where we are.
Yeah, they know what they can do.
It's a monopoly. It's
Yep.
fair.
They got us.
All righty.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver, touchdown!
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year!
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals!
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
That is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus.
This could be the greatest opportunity in my life, and it comes with danger.
Well, I bet ain't nobody seen that coming.
Tulsa King, new season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Warden, I swear in these walls.
This is my castle now. Do we understand each other?
Mayor of Kingstown, new season streaming October 26th on Paramount Plus.
When he first came out of prison, I thought, maybe I'll get my dad back, even after everything that happened. So much for second chances, eh?
Tonight's the night. And it's going to happen again. Has to happen.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dexter. What do you think? Tonight's the night.
Stream every Dexter episode ever, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Give me 5. Now, down low.
Why would you do that?
Because you are too slow.
This is Chicago.
Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. All episodes now streaming of the Paramount Plus Premium plan.
They're underway in this massive clash at City High. Superb finish.
Unbelievable strike.
And then surely they score that tornado.
Watch Serie A all season long, streaming on Paramount Plus.
You can't count on Derek's taunt skills.
Oh, Tony, I think it hit the ground.
But you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
6 minutes until kickoff of week 2 action. And here on College Football Pregame, that means it's time to make some game picks. Let's start with the battle for the Sihawk Trophy. Iowa State. BMAC, who you got?
Simple. Iowa State riding with the best quarterback in the ball game.
Okay.
Fair. We're going to take a betting angle here. I would lay him Iowa State minus the 3.5. Iowa typically goes in there and takes care of business for whatever reason. This series gets weird, so I'm going to go with Iowa State now minus 3.5.
I'm going Iowa State as well. I don't think Iowa's going to manufacture enough offense to keep up with the young, high-flying Rocco Beck.
I'll take Iowa. I'll go out on an island over here on DK Island. I think Mark Gronowski, I've been talking about him all off season. I think he shows up today and plays big.
You got to stick with your guy there. How about Oklahoma State at number 6 Oregon? We've been talking about it all day long. It's big time. Who wins this game?
Well, according to Coach Gundy, Oregon has more NIL money, which means they have better players. I'm taking Oregon.
This is a disgusting spread, 27.5 for my bettors out there at home. I'd attack the first half, minus the 16.5. Oregon likes to start out strong. It's the second half when they start to play with their food a little bit, and then just ignore the spread after that.
You got Dan Lanning as a coach that takes receipts. So anytime there's some drama, he's going to pour it on extra thick. I got to take Oregon in this football game.
I'm on DK Island again, but I'm not going. I'm asking you guys all to come with me. We're all on Oregon. This is going to be a blowout.
Okay, I was going to say, whoa, wait, that does not line up with your analysis for the last 3 hours. How about Arizona State on the road at Mississippi State? Much has been made of the sad excuse for the cowbells, but who comes out on top?
It's a bell. It's a cowbell. Shouldn't be afraid of a cowbell. Give me Arizona State. Sam Lovett.
I think Arizona State can win this game. I think 6.5 is a lot of points, though. I'll lay it with the home dog here.
I like Sam Levitt as well. Kenny Dillingham has his team playing expired dating back to last year.
I think this game's closer, but I do give Arizona State the edge. I will say I've been to Starkville, called some games there. Your ears are ringing. Like, you hear those noises when you're trying to fall asleep that night. But it'll be a victory celebration for Arizona State.
I love it. Ole Miss at Kentucky. Seen some line movement this week, but we don't. We'll let Ken deal with that. Straight up. Who wins this football game?
Straight up, I like Ole Miss, but I love Kentucky to cover this ball game. You look at these two matchups in years past, it's always been very, very close. I like Ole Miss to win, but Kentucky cover.
Giving us the betting angle.
Yeah, no, he just wants to fight
I said he
with
didn't
me.
have to.
I'm so in on Ole Miss. I'm in on their team total over in on them to cover this game. This is so classic this time of the year. Lane Kiffin is so good. Now, maybe not against the best opponents, but that middle of the field, this is his wheelhouse, and this is when he likes to put up the style points. So I think it is Ole Miss and the spread.
I'm with you. Ole Miss and the spread. I mean, Lane Kiffin, like you just mentioned, style points. It's his time now.
Ole Miss has a QB that I think is a future star in Austin Simmons. Zach Calzada, I think he's on his 4th or his 5th school.
He's like 35.
Yeah, but sometimes that actually is a good thing. I don't know if that's the case now. I think he's going to struggle. I like Ole Miss.
5-year age gap between the quarterbacks playing in that game. A 19-year-old and a 24-year-old. Craziness. All right, the headliner. We got the ranked on ranked Michigan, Oklahoma. Sharon Moore back in his old stomping grounds. Who wins this game?
It won't be a pleasant sight for Coach being back in his old stomping grounds. Give me OU.
Oh, I love John Mateer, so I really get confused here. As far as a betting angle, like, this is a principal play. It opens up at -1.5. You see it move past key numbers all the way to 5.5. I will take the plus 5.5 with Michigan. I think they probably lose this game by a field goal.
I'm taking OU in this game, and
No
it's
surprise.
not just because I went to Ohio State.
Sure.
But
Sure
for Michigan and Bryce Underwood, it's going to be too big of a moment for him right now in his young career.
Justice Haynes, I think, could be the difference maker. I'm with you, Kens. I like the points, but I do think Oklahoma, BMAC, we're talking about desperate times.
Yeah.
Brent Venables desperately needs a signature win.
Cannot lose this ball
I think this game is close enough where he gets the win, but I think it's a very tight ball game.
All right, all the talk is over. Let's watch some college football. Week 2 about to kick off, and let's remind you of what you can watch on CBS. It's big time, 3:30 Eastern. Oklahoma State at number 6 Oregon. Join our friends and watch the big time game on CBS and over on CBS Sports Network. We got a big one here. I mean, UCLA at UNLV. Dan Mullen was on our show earlier. Love talking to him. Shockingly, he picked the Rebels to win this game. And you want more college football? The Cover 3 podcast is the place to be. After all the action, join them tonight as they break down Week 2 of college football. Thank you so much for joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. We might be going away, but don't worry, we'll keep you abreast of everything happening in the sport. So keep it locked in to CBS Sports HQ. We hit every highlight, streaming free. Get ready.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys.